his name. He ventured out to find a friend and learn about his bane. Hello, hello. I'm Mildly Panda. I'm joined here today by Felix, aka Ulvi, and we are going to be casting the best of 5 of Hog versus Deadly Lotus. And yeah, how are you feeling today, Ulvi?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's my first time casting. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited. It's a best of five, the semifinals. So whoever wins this goes to the finals, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big game. Um, I'm I'm excited to see like how the meta is different from like normal pro play because I see normally in pro play they choose like champs who are just like good relative to meta and they don't really pick like what they're like at least not to the same amount like what they're personally good at, right? So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like this meta can be in some areas more interesting because they pick like what they actually play themselves in solo queue. So like the champ pool is a bit more personalized, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah, me and Ulvi were actually looking before the game at like some of the stuff they plays, and we do see a few couple of trends. We saw Deadly Lotus, a huge fan of the Karma Varus, Cho'Gath Maokai, Hog a bit more of a fan of the Orianna, Rakan, Syndra Thresh. I'm just reading straight off the stat website just to yeah see what's up. And I believe in the meantime, both teams are getting into the custom game. But like you said, big game today. The winner of this goes directly to the grand final of
yep.
the SLE. So very exciting stuff to see today.
And the the loser today also of course has a chance
Mm-hmm.
to go to the final afterwards, the lower brackets. But yeah, basically I
Anything?
feel like we see like a lot of a lot more lane champs. Like it's a lot more about lanes than like in normal pro play. So we might see like some Fiora or something today,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel like is more interesting. Uh,
Is that some picks you're excited to see? I have
yeah,
looked a
I
lot
mean
at both teams.
personally, like I said, I'm like a top lane, right? And top
Mm-hmm.
lane is kind of muted, I would say, in pro play. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
watch it, they just kind of look at each other. They kind of just farming, but it's not always the case in like these tournaments, right? The top lane actually I feel like has some say so when it comes to like they can like kind of stomp
Mm-hmm. Getting
and
ready for a
try
big
to make
fist
some
fight.
plays. Yeah, exactly. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
makes it exciting to see.
I believe we are almost getting ready to queue up draft. Any picks that you want to see from either top lane then? If you want to see a big fist fight.
Yeah, I would like to see like some lane bullying. I would like to see some ignite top, some perma fighting, like someone just keep pushing in waves and then maybe they like call for the jungler, they go for like a tower dive, something like that. So maybe like a Fiora Renekton or something. Also Mbessa. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just in my opinion, just avoiding tanks is always good because I feel like they just
Mm-hmm.
sit there and farm. But this is my personal opinion, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But yeah,
and I believe we've seen like Deadly Lotus also play a bunch of the Ambessa.
yeah, exactly.
What is this lie? Ah, yeah, 32 games Fiora. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's gonna be banned out, but oh,
Hmm.
I do believe the draft is already starting. Is it shown up on stream? Okay, yep, it has. First ban from. Hold on, who's on who? Which side? It is. Okay, yeah, Deadly Lotus is blue side, Hog is red side, and Vi comes out first ban. And unfortunately, the Ambessa will be banned away.
The better gets banned. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because like it does not always like
Mm-hmm.
the good picks does not always reflect what you want, of
Rek'Thai,
course.
really? I
Yeah,
guess Rek'Thai.
Razor can be really strong. I feel like. especially
Mm-hmm.
like when you're in comms, you're sitting there talking with each other, exercise, mobility, and the
Mm-hmm.
easy CC, the guaranteed CC. I
Yeah.
remember someone talked about that. It was some other cast that like a pro play said that usually champs with like lockdown and like 100% guaranteed CC is really good. Kind of like Renekton W and Rek'Sai W and stuff like that.
And that's
So,
what we're seeing, a bunch of AD bruisers
yeah,
being banned out here.
exactly. He was
And
like,
unfortunately, the Karma that's also been picked so much has been banned out here.
hmm Also the R also makes sense. Just perma
hmm
clearing waves, can roam.
So now we do see Deadly Lotus's signature Syndra being
Yeah,
locked away. A lot of comfort to be found on that champ. And just like in pro play, a lot of high Varus prio, and that'll be first picked by Hog. I'm guessing here
the
another
Gwen.
support will be picked away, or just the Gwen.
Gwen also. I don't know who plays Gwen. Is the top lane or jungle?
I believe
It's the
it's their.
jungle. Yeah.
Is it their jungle? I'd be
I
actually
mean,
very interested to
I'm
see
looking.
if it comes out here.
I'm looking at his OBGG and his like half his games is the Gwen jungle.
Mm.
But I don't know. Might be top lane.
No, I just the only reason why I'm slightly suspicious of it because I think Gwen jungle with the recent nerfs got absolutely demolished.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
True.
maybe it's just a really confident top pick, or it's that big of a comfort in jungle. Who knows? We
It is
also
really
have.
strong actually into Syndra
hmm
with the.
We have the response from Deadly Lotus with Jin into the Varus. And let's see if Deadly Lotus have a read on whether this Gwen is gonna go top or jungle. Maybe something
Yeah, I
like
think. Yeah, I think they think they jungle, right?
Xin Zhao, yeah, the
Yeah,
other
since I was really
broken
strong into
jungler this
Gwen.
game.
He can just perma invade.
Mm,
He should win 1v1 all throughout early game. It's really strong pick into Gwen. I actually played some 5v5 customs with my friends, and someone picked Sensao into Gwen, and it was just a stomp.
mm. We also see the Thresh, and we can already see that a lot of this has just been comfort for both sides and just picking whatever either they feel they will do best on, or like with the Xin Zhao or Varus picks, just stuff that's generally very good.
hmm I also think the Fresh is a good counter to like Sensao, like possible tower diving or like engaging on bot lane. It's a really good
Mm,
counter to Sensao ganking. Because it's really like since I was really telegraphed, like his W is long cast time, his E is like dash in, so it's really good to have Fresh here to peel the virus.
hmm We also see the Nami ban coming through, making it a little
Oh
bit easier for Hog to look for those all-ins. Galio ban as well from the side of Deadly Lotus. I wonder if Galio would have just given them too much AP, so I'm not sure.
I
I feel like
mean,
I should have done more research on both of these teams and what they play. I'm assuming the Galio is just comfort either mid or top.
yeah, I mean, I only have the like what they play in solo queue. I don't know about what they play in tournament, honestly.
hmm And yeah, the Ornn
On
ban
my
does
screen.
come through, so it
The
is
on bans.
it would be a little bit awkward if Gwen is going top, since I imagine that's a good matchup for Gwen top.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is.
Final ban coming here from the side of Deadly Lotus.
It's
And
interesting that they're picking top lane so late. It's gonna it gives me the feel they're gonna pick something interesting, right? Because normally when you pick like a tank or something, you just pick it early,
hmm
because
I
you can
wonder who
just
they're
chill.
saving the counter for.
Yep.
Either they blind mid here. Actually, no, they don't have to blind. Syndra's already been picked.
Yeah, I think it's just pick mid. We have to see who was the mid the house and yeah,
hmm
the Asir. The Asir makes sense. Yeah, I think. I think is it. I don't know
Oh,
how Asir does into Syndra in lane though, but
hmm I see now it was actually Hog the ones who played a bunch of Syndra, so DL actually decided to take the Syndra away from Hog. So
yeah,
let's see how well Hog's mid laner knows the matchup versus Syndra then. I'm assuming the Azir pick is
yeah,
made with a little bit of confidence.
yeah, that's actually true. Like when you play a champ a lot, you can actually become really strong when you're playing against them, not even on them. I also
Mm-hmm.
experienced that, like when I won trick champions, then when you play against them, you can kind of read everything that's going
Mm-hmm.
on, and it's really easy to play. So that's actually a good point. That probably he's confident just picking Azir that he'll do fine because
Mm-hmm.
he
And then
knows
our
this
blind
like
pick.
the Syndra in and out. Now it's also really good here. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like
Solid blind pick. It works well with the rest of the team. I believe gives them a tad bit
yeah.
more AoE team fight, and Zinzao's already in good gauge by himself, but now just strengthens that.
Ooh,
Maybe they want
they have
more
so
engage. Yeah.
they're just playing for the team fight. Like their float is really team fight strong. I feel like.
Especially
If,
with this Leona in their pocket now.
hmm It's just they can just go for picks for days, right? Because they have the Syndra E, they have the Leonald, they have Sensao W. They can Hog would have to be careful not getting caught, especially in the late
hmm
game.
What are we gonna see here? I see a lot of Scion,
Malphite,
Darius, and
Malphite,
Malphite coming out.
Malphite. I don't know about Malphite into Na though, because his W is max health AP, but
hmm
I don't know. Might be
Unless, what are the Varus builds? There's on hit. There's.
I mean, I think the most viable right now is just on hit.
hmm
Um,
I wonder if this gives Hog a little bit too much AP here. I wonder where their AD comes from. Like Varus does have
yeah,
a
that's actually
decent chunk
true.
of it, but
I mean, they don't really have anyone who can stack magic users, to be honest, on
hmm
Death Lotus. So then I don't think anyone's gonna be invulnerable, to be honest. Because Na has to get like Black Cleaver, right?
hmm
Since Sao has to get something similar, like a Sundered Sky or something. But like just yeah, just one magic usage item could be really good here. Also, Merc Treads is actually
hmm
really strong.
Well, both of these look like very exciting teams to go into team fights with. I don't think there's that much which you can necessarily, or at least in my opinion, I
Yeah.
don't think there are a lot of champs in this draft which pick off
Uh,
champions as easily aside from maybe like the Leona Zinzao or something like the
mm,
Gwen. So for when it comes to those big team fights, ooh boy, I am really excited because there's not a lot
yep.
of champions in
Yep.
here that scream, I want to get away. It's all go in, fire on all
Also,
cylinders.
exactly. Also, all the ultimates, all they have a lot of hard CC ultimates, like big AoE CCs. They have the Sea ult, Belfight ult, Fresh ult,
hmm
now Leon ult, Sitsao ult. They do have everything. It's gonna be a
hmm
really interesting team fight. And they like the damage dealers will have to like position really well in order
hmm
not to get like completely trapped in like a big CC chain.
Who do you think out of both of these teams scales better? Because I see the Syndra, and other than that, I'm not sure who really
That's a
scales
good
that well
question.
here.
Also, scaling is not only the champs, right? It's also a lot about the comp. Because I feel
hmm
like the comp reflects mostly late game, right? Because in early game you can have like a weird comp and it might work in like laning phase and stuff. But when you get to team fighting, then you have to get have the right comp, have the right counters and stuff. And I feel like what I see is um I feel like yeah, this the floaters will probably have like an easier time. I feel like they don't I feel like they have a lot of answers for Gwen, right? So Gwen can't just jump in, press W and kill them because they have a lot of melee, also a lot of melee CC.
hmm
Um and I feel like the fresh hooks is just gonna be blocked by Sensao, Na, Leona, and when they get hit doesn't really matter, and Syndra and Jin can just continue to deal damage. So I feel
hmm
like what we'll see is like uh their Flotus team comp might be like more set up, but then if they can get like a good SC ult, of course, a good Malphite ult, good Varus ult even,
hmm
it can be pretty devastating. But they'll have to like really focus on the backline because we're seeing like Na's not a exclusively melee champ, right? But he plays a lot like a melee champ. So I feel like what
hmm
we'll see is like they'll have to somehow penetrate or like get around the front line to get to like the Jin and Syndra, and then just one of them, like if Syndra or Jin gets caught, something like that, then it's pretty much over because they don't have a lot of damage outside of that.
hmm Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of the sentiment that you have. I personally like Deadly Lotus's draft a little bit better, but that's
Hmm
mostly just because I think Hog having a lot more AP skewed damage is a little bit awkward, but they also do have a lot more ultimates, which feel like if Deadly Lotus get caught out, they really get caught out. One good Varasalt, like you said, one good Malphite, and all of a sudden their entire
Yep.
team blows up.
It's also just the damage output. I don't think Def Lotus has a lot of damage output. Like they don't have a lot of sources. They only have like the Syndra and Jhin like late game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the at least like consistently. Of course, can like hit a good combo, deal a lot of damage like a burst, but they don't have like a lot of consistent damage. They can keep throwing on like for example the Malphite, or like Gwen, for example, like the Leona, Nas, and Sao might not be able to like deal with like Gwen's healing if she hits like a good old 4-man Q or something like that, right? They'll
Mm-hmm.
need like a Syndra Jhin burst to like penetrate and kill her. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a pretty team fight heavy game, like you said, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like all these big AoE CC ults. It's gonna be really interesting.
If
And
I'm
then,
also not mistaken, I do believe this is Hog's first time playing Malphite in the SLE. I haven't checked up on any of the other champions, but I'm really interested to see what inspired this pick today, or at least I
yeah,
didn't see anything in the draft screen that said like, "Oh no, it's a misclick."
I mean, yeah, I
I'm very
guess
interested about it.
it actually, yeah, I don't know about Malphite this game. I mean, it's good into like, because even like the Jhin, I mean, armor is of course good against Jhin, but he's not like he's, I feel like he can pretty easily get around Malphite.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I feel like Malphite's maybe just like a good champ to fall back on usually. Like when you don't have anything to pick, right? You can always pick Malphite to have some value because you have like a big ultimate. And also the E attack speed reduction can be really nice, especially into Sensao.
Mm-hmm.
So when Sensao goes in, Malphite presses E, then Sensao can knock anyone up, right? He might be surprised by that. So maybe we'll see that. Where like Sensao tries to get a knock up on someone and then Malphite can press E and he'll also the Leona Q actually.
Mm-hmm.
Malphite E can like be life saving to stuff like that. Where Leona E is in, and actually if you reduce Leona's Q cooldown enough, maybe I mean attack speed, like you reduce her attack speed enough with like
Mm-hmm.
frozen heart E, then maybe like your Varus gets to flash away before the E roots wears off, stuff like that. So we might be
Mm-hmm.
able to see that. But other than that, like generally Malphite, yeah, does better into like flat AD damage, right? Like assassins and stuff. But
And they
we'll
do
see.
certainly have a lot of that. I do think Cinder will also just be uh, a thorn if she gets she's uninterrupted scaling, stacking her splinters,
Hmm.
and yeah, I suppose the Malphite was mostly just there to say like, here we go, we're missing a bit of front line. All we really have is the Thresh and the Gwen into a team full of a bunch of melees who really likes to be in melee range. Bang!
Yep.
Here we go. We have the Malphite. And also, I just realized I don't know why, but it wasn't only until recently where I realized this Gnar champion has so much movement speed in his kit. Late game, Malphite can just steal all that away with his Q. So
Yep.
I do know that Gnar is a good blind pick, but mayhaps yeah, I think the more I look at it, the more the Malphite pick I am slightly warming up to it.
Yeah.
Um,
It definitely has a strength. I feel like.
mhm. What about the rest of the match? Anything about this bot lane? Because it is Thresh versus Leona.
Um,
It is very much on thin ice for both of these champs here.
I feel like they're both Jin and Varus' best interest just to sit and farm honestly throughout most. I mean not but like a lot of the laning phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to look for like early game kills unless they like someone makes a mistake, stuff like that. Um. So yeah, I think it's both like very long range ADCs. They're gonna sit back, and then if someone, it's gonna be a lot of someone's gonna have prio, like push the wave in, and then maybe they look for like a tower dive. I feel like stuff like that, or maybe if like
Mm-hmm.
someone steps too far up, they're gonna get caught, of course. But it's not like this wouldn't. I feel like this isn't like a brawl bot lane where they're just gonna like run at each other and fight all the time. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be like a thing where Leona, or I mean Jin gets hooked because like he misposition and stuff like that, or like the Varus gets Leona 8. It's a lot like E on Varus, and they're just looking for fresh hook on Jin, right? And if they can get that, then they can fight. But if they don't get that, it's kind of hard to engage.
I do believe we are also in the game now itself, and there's a few things that surprise me. Is Comet Malphite normal if you're going like the tank build? I'm not sure. Maybe it's just
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the early game power, but also that first
definitely.
strike Gwen build. I haven't seen that much first strike on Gwen. Is it? Oh, looks like both Syndra and Gwen are just having a friendly little face off in the mid lane.
I feel like there aren't really a lot of alternatives runes to Malphite except maybe Grasp, right? But Grasp doesn't really work into range champs like Gnar because he's not gonna get hit by it, right? So you just sit in lane, and basically what you want is at least a little more poke. Also, it works really well into champs that doesn't have any sustain. Like Gnar doesn't have any healing, like not really. You can kind of count the transforming, giving him max health, but then he keeps he keeps the health after not transforming. But that's the only sustain he has, unless he buys anything. So the comet damage can actually be really, really strong to like keep Gnar out of the lane, especially in early game. You can like keep him at like low HP or like half HP. So maybe you can look for something with the jungle. So yeah, comet Malphite's definitely good. I haven't really updated on the first strike actually. I'm not really sure how viable it is anymore, but I see a lot of mid laners going it, especially assassins, to get their early game AD power spikes. It might be the same here with Gwen, where maybe if she can get enough gold, Gwen really hits big power spikes on her items, right? Like after first item or after second item, she gets these really big power spikes because she has a lot of scalings. She doesn't have a lot of inherent value in her kit. She doesn't have CC or like a lot of dashes or like any buffs. All her whole kit is basically just okay, give me AP scalings and then I do damage.
Too many Krugs got away. I do agree, but I'm not sure. I saw a little bit of Gwen when she was powerful, but then after that, it just felt like the Gwen nerfs dropped her dead in the water. So I'm very excited at the very least to see if Doohy will prove me wrong and make this Gwen pick magically work.
Yeah.
Let's see, both junglers are pathing to the bot lane. Both of them just about crossing the river. The Xin Zhao is very slightly ahead, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened with the Gwen. I'm guessing that's just an unhealthy clear, but also why she took the pot with her.
I feel like it's also gonna be a really hard time because Gwen can't really gank, right? Especially when it's Syndra mid lane and Gnar top lane. It's gonna be really tough to look for something. So I think she'll just be power farming. And what she's looking for is basically just her item spikes, and when she gets that, she becomes really strong and can do some crazy stuff.
She does use a second smite, so I wonder if she's even going to contest the scuttle here, as neither team has any vision on the other enemy's junglers, so I wonder if both teams are kind of just anticipating a fist fight to happen out at level 3 or level 4. I don't see any cleanse invested from the bot lane.
I mean, it could be possible they think it's now at pathing top. It wouldn't be unbelievable, I feel like. Especially into like this matchup with Malphite. They could definitely look for like an early game tower dive if Gnar gets enough poke. But
as
yeah.
Xin Zhao gets caught out on
so this season Zhao, Gwen is, I don't know where Gwen is walking now. I guess she's walking to the other scuttle, yeah. So she's going to the other scuttle, which makes sense.
And Xin Zhao getting a little bit of deep vision. I don't think this quite tells him which way the Gwen path, but she also just doesn't seem to be that worried about the second scuttle. I'm guessing she just.
Yeah, I feel like I would like to see her take the scuttle here, right, before Xin Zhao gets there. Because Xin Zhao is maybe gonna think that she saw him on the ward and then backed, and now the other scuttle is up for grabs, and she maybe like she's walking to a jungle right now, but I don't know, we'll see him. Maybe they both just think the scuttle will be gone and none of them take it. I don't know.
Fair enough. Or she takes it after Krugs, but I do think her timer is a bit gone as
yeah, exactly.
Azir getting a little bit
she's backing now. So the thing is, it's really a lot of stalemate lanes right now, and especially with Gwen jungle, they can't really look for that much. But we'll probably see something soon.
As Gwen is going to try to gank this Gnar. Gnar low HP, slowly running away.
He should get up.
He's hopping away, but Gwen, at the price of a flash, Gwen will be going back to her initial plan of just backing away.
Yeah, so she definitely thinks it's got. So both Xin Zhao and Gwen thinks the scuttle is gone. So none of them are like going for it.
The level 1 scuttle in the top river lives on peacefully as Xin Zhao continues to path bot, and The first dragon is up. I do believe it was Deadly Lotus on the blue side. Sorry, Goldfish memory. Deadly Lotus do have a lot of prio for this dragon here. Xin Zhao going a little bit into the jungle to see if they can get anything.
looks
Thresh hook. Thresh slightly being caught out here. Xin Zhao chasing with the flash and with the third knock-up, or with the third auto attack knock-up, will find the kill. As they do suspect that the Xin Zhao is on the Grump. Will they be looking for anything in return? The Gwen is going through lane to see if she can find anything. Will be spotted out by the sweeper. It's Varus Gwen versus the Xin Zhao, but they don't want to flip anything quite here, so everyone just goes peacefully back to their lanes. And Gwen and the Malphite up top here, recall. As I am a little bit surprised about this Malphite because it was an R5 pick, but he seems to have a little bit of struggle with in lane, just judging by the CS differential. There's a massive fight going on in bot lane. The Thresh, I believe, finding out the Jhin, and now they're potentially looking onto the Leona, but Jhin, Varus cleanse, and the Leona does go down. As Syndra looking for a little bit of poke onto the Azir, Xin Zhao right behind him. And currently, both DL and Hog sitting at one apiece, as the Thresh and Gwen looking for this Xin Zhao. Maybe have going a bit too far. Azir going to be looking on the Xin Zhao here as well, with the Shurima shuffle, but Xin Zhao just barely getting away. But the Thresh lands the hook onto the Syndra, and she is just caught out a long enough, but she flashes away. Azir flashing after, gets the kill. And Hog getting away with one extra kill from all the fiasco that's been going on in the bot lane. They don't want to use this prio though to get Dragon here. Gwen will just be going back to her camps because I don't know, maybe not enough confidence. Xin Zhao going in on the Thresh, but the Thresh does having the very good engage like you said, and Azir just slowly poking out the Xin Zhao. They're not confident to quite execute onto the Thresh.
So I feel like there's like what we talked about, where it's like it's gonna be like a like pick battles, right? Where it's like someone out position, someone gets picked, like we saw at bot lane with the Fresh getting caught by Xin Zhao and Leona. They have like really long range engages and CCs, right? So that's what we're looking at, and then also mid lane with the Fresh hooking.
Malphite ulting away to make sure that he doesn't get killed by Gnar here. Very low HP, but Leona will be looking to chase here with the Hex Flash. Going to potentially, yep, no crazy stuff needed. Just walk up, Q, W out of there. But Gwen is in the area, ulting the Leona, trying to get a pick back onto this Leona. But does she have enough damage? I don't think so. Gnar and Xin Zhao and Syndra here potentially looking to punish the Gwen, but she gets out safely, and Deadly Lotus just have grubs all to themselves as Varus Thresh very deep under the enemy turret, but the Jhin is very unfortunately weak-sided, just trying to ult to get a little bit of poke damage off.
Yeah, training grubs, fortunately, at least.
Potentially, they could have transformed this into a little bit of a dragon pick. They are pinging for it now, as they do have the prio for it.
Just the Gwen was like all the way top lane. It's gonna be tough. Ooh, that was close. That would have been another kill. There's no sunspot lane on the Jhin.
This Thresh playing with a lot of confidence here, who we love to see. And they will be starting up the dragon. Xin Zhao, I'm assuming, is just thinking, okay, I have a lot of camps, just gonna go back to farming, and it's gonna be a grubs for dragon trade after all. A little bit of a late first dragon though for the game.
Yep.
As Syndra is gonna be looking for potentially something, but realizes there's way too many members. Goes back to mid lane. As the mid laners have been having it very peaceful. The Azir is up one kill, but so far the lane has been going relatively even for both of these laners.
Yeah, you can also see, you can also see the Merc Tread rush on the Sia, which also makes sense. Like he's just trying to neutralize the lane and play for like bigger team fights for result.
Fresh hook landing onto Leona, but the Varus just wants the back. Has a lot of gold in his pocket from the fights that have recently happened, and the third plate money from Jhin being weak-sided. Malphite and Gnar gonna be trading a little bit, but Gnar gonna be slamming the Malphite into the wall. And it does end up being a completely terrible trade for the Malphite, but Yeah, I do see that the Sunfire is slowly coming on through.
We also
So
see like you said, it's heavy comps. We do also see like the AD rush on Virus here. It's like the
Leona
Dirk.
being caught out. Gwen gonna be looking for an all-in onto the Leona. Thresh and Gwen both chasing. The Jin root isn't gonna land, but Xin Zhao coming to clean up after. The Jin ult chasing down the members of Hog as Thresh trying to get away with small amounts of HP, but Xin Zhao just rushes him down as Xin Zhao going a little bit too far here, potentially looking for a pick onto the Varus, but no, Azir can't make anything happen here, and is also sent running for his life as Syndra now gets a bit of time with the wave to herself, and that is 2 more very crucial kills going back into the favor of Deadly Lotus.
Yeah, I do still think Hawk has they still have a good chance with this, especially the kills going into Sensao, which is Sensao is gonna be like their more frontline and picking opportunity, while the DPS, like you said earlier, is the Jin and Syndra. So if they can get like some gold on them, it's gonna be really hard for them to get back.
The Thresh gonna be looking for the Jin. If this hook lands, it is a complete disaster, but doesn't have to look for anything else, just looks for the E. The Thresh is able to land the Q, and just by the very edge of the hail of arrows, Jin dies. As I think Azir thought a team fight would happen since Syndra was roaming, but now it's just
Azir with ult here, so they could look for something.
Doesn't look for an Azir ult angle just yet. And the junglers have appeared to forgot what role they play.
They probably knew that both Leona and Syndra had flash up, so they wouldn't look for anything.
And they just leave the wave as is, with a nice little freeze for Deadly Lotus. The Jin very appreciative of that, getting all 3 minions. And now Deadly Lotus have swapped the ADC mid, presumably because I think
they just want Syndra and side lane scaling, and then they want the Jin to get action and to get some more gold. But yeah, they could keep Syndra mid for like some picking potential, right?
Syndra's attack gonna be delayed. I guess the Jin just slowly went mid for a couple of seconds to catch the wave.
It also makes more sense.
She does have TP to go back to lane. There it is.
Syndra has like way more potential when it comes to like creating opportunities in form of like the CC and the range. So we'll probably see Jin going mid if probably later on when he gets more gold. The top lane match is not the last pick Malphite is not going very well. It's like 30 CS down.
But he is slowly scaling with his tank items, and even though he is 1 kill down here, he has been playing the lane very well as the Thresh gets rooted. Leona going in, but Varus ult landing onto the Jin. Not going to be able to be finished off, but the Thresh is caught out for long enough for the Xin Zhao to come and finish him off.
Yeah, so that's also the just the Leona and the Sensao WE combo. They have so much pick potential, it's crazy. Like one small misposition.
As the Gwen is going to be looking onto the Gnar here, but he does shove both of them away if he can maybe get caught by the last bits of the Gwen ult. They do land, but with Gwen being stunned there right at the very end, it doesn't matter. Potentially they look onto dive. There wouldn't be any way for Deadly Lotus to cover it, but also I don't think they have enough vision on the map to know, as they do ping the dragon to sign, yes, this is what we're going to be playing for. Varus maybe caught up by the Xin Zhao? No? Xin Zhao not quite wanting to go for it, wanting to secure Dragon Prio and starting to go on it himself. As Hog a little bit behind here.
He also has the Varus has Humus and the Swifties boost. It's gonna be like he knows it's a pick heavy comp, so he knows he has to go a lot of movement speed to like get in good positions, and so he can run out like that. Like if he didn't have a lot of movement speed there, he would probably just been caught. I feel like
by this damage from the Gnar here onto both the turret and the Malphite. Huge bow. But that's all that she wrote as he continues to siphon gold into his pocket.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for Malphite to match now after after the lane. Because now that does also have the AoE CC, and he is also a really good team fighter. So the value won't go down in that way.
And if I'm not mistaken, this Rift Herald, if Deadly Lotus get away with it, this is feats of strength going their way, because I also believe they got the first 3 kills. I'm not 100% on that. Yumu's after the Jhin. The Varus ult just barely doesn't land, but Leona ult, just a bunch of missed ults here in the bot lane to see if anything can happen. Both ADCs still do have cleanse, so not too much craziness to be found, but Thresh does land the hook onto Leona. A little bit too far away for the Varus to engage.
Yeah, and we do see the feeds on the
Gnar getting the Malphite very low, but just barely being able to ult out here, as funnily enough the bounty from the Gnar does disappear. And also, I guess this explains why Hog were so confident in picking something that I would assume is otherwise very AP heavy, is because turns out the Varus is going lethality, so we were wondering where the AD is, and all of a sudden the Varus has all of it, and he is probably one of the strongest members of Hog's team, aside from maybe the Sazir. So
I do feel like
the mid-bot to play around here.
The lethality being shoehorned in is not a good thing in against this matchup. I feel like Ornhit would have been much stronger into like this frontline heavy comp. So I mean, of course, it's all about like if they can get the pick, of course, on Jhin and Syndra, like I said, but again, it's gonna be really tough to play front to back with lethality Varus into like Leona and Gnar and stuff like that.
Varus being eat by Syndra and getting hit by a couple of other bits of CC as Jhin ult just to make sure we really get the kill onto the Varus here. Very unfortunate hit there, as Gwen and Thresh can do nothing but watch on.
Yeah,
I do believe
that's the thing about control mage like Syndra. He just uses the combo and he dies even in turret. He has to be aware of that.
No amount of movement speed is saving that, as Leona going for a bit of a ride straight to the tier 1 mid turret. And Gwen slightly caught out here by the Xin Zhao. Very good flank by him. Jinroot just barely not going to land as Malphite goes for a flank himself. He doesn't... he does have ultimate. But he doesn't... He will invest it after the flash gets used, as the Jhin gets caught out here as well. And now it's the Leona Syndra's turn to just watch on. But just barely... No, it is Gwen, so she is going to be immune to any follow-up the Syndra might have had of that E.
They're lucky they get to keep the tower here.
So Thresh looking onto the Syndra with a Azir follow-up. It will be Thresh's life to just barely kill the Leona as well. Azir limping away. It is once again a 2-for-1, and Hog have turned around what was a disastrous play quite nicely. Gnar was able to side lane a very little bit off of that, but Malphite has returned bot to catch it, and all of a sudden the gold in this game has very cleanly evened up from what was a bit more chaotic to a lot more gold going to the way of Hog, and the game stabilizing a lot more.
Yeah, it's a lot more even now. We can see on the gold score, it's only 700 gold difference now. So we are looking at a pretty even match. Also now we're at the semifinals, so these are some competent teams, so we might look for a higher match, like more than 3 matches. Like some of the other games have been where it's just a complete storm, like 2-0, 3-0. So we feel lucky we're looking at like a 4 or 5 game.
So we are looking at a very exciting series, but not to say that any of the other teams before this were incompetent, but we do see a lot more. We do see a lot more kills onto the Azir Varus here. So very much Hog are enjoying that their carries are staying very much fed. The Gwen has been doing well for herself, assisting her team, and the Malphite from what was a pretty bad lane. Yeah, Gnar is up a bunch of CS, but the Malphite is very much looking to help out his team a lot more than the Gnar has, as he has just been side laning. TP coming in. A lot of these teams looking for this fight onto the Dragon plus Atakan combo. Thresh, a Hog just trying to run for their lives, but Varus ult is going to land onto Leona. Azir does have a flank onto the Xin Zhao, and all of a sudden it's a 5v4. Jhin can do nothing but ult from the sideline as Hog just clean up all of Deadly Lotus. Gwen going to be chasing after the Jhin. doesn't have any more shots to spare, but they just figure, well, we have Dragon and Otacon up, no need to flip anything here as they move on to the objective. And I do believe they get 2 kills for 1, so it wasn't as disastrous as I thought for Deadly Lotus. But they do get the Dragon and potentially the Otacon off this.
It was a really
Xin Zhao maybe
unlucky.
looking for a pick onto the Varus, just barely out of W range.
That was really unlucky. They hit the CC on Varus, and the Syndra was supposed to follow up with QE, and then she forgot to place down the ball, so she just eat. That was really unlucky. So the Varus didn't get caught, and then they could turn the fight, and they did a whole team fight without Syndra having E up, which is like her strongest CC ability. It was a really big reason they won that.
Hog were found out by Vision on the Otacon, so they will back off here. As maybe they look to take it themselves. I'm not sure if Hog know. They did have Vision there, I believe a couple of seconds ago. So Thresh slowly pushing out the Vision. This is a huge Malphite angle if he can get into the pit here. As massive Leona ult onto the Thresh. Gnar pushing the entire team back. I guess they just want to focus on the Otacon, not the team fight, as now it's on to Hog to chase down this Leona, and Leona might just hopefully be the only sacrifice of this game. As Malphite getting very low, but still looking for an ult angle, but they're just not fast enough. The Gnar may be the only other sacrifice here, as Malphite, the edge of that Malphite ult does land onto the Gnar, and will lock him down as well. Otacon to Deadly Lotus, but Xin Zhao almost getting hooked, and a minion, yeah. A minion finishing off the Thresh. Not every day where I see the Krug icon in the kill feed. That was very interesting to see.
Yeah, it was a worth play though, I would say, because if he does get the hook, it's really good, and if he calculated the thing about getting executed and not giving gold, it's fine, because there's no objective on the map. They don't really need any pressure right now, so it's kind of a free death. He just gets to respawn for free. There's no problem in it.
I do like that Deadly Lotus has Otacon now, because like I said, their entire mojo is team fighting here, and with the new Otacon buff of this season slowing, a lot of what Hog are very interested in movement speed to chase them, because that's what Gwen Ghost, Malphite Q movement speed steal, the lethality Varus. If they manage to get a single kill and that affects a decent chunk of Hog's team, then all of a sudden I do think their team fight positioning at the very least is greatly diminished.
I do think it is very it is very strong, because the thing is they can, in this game, Death Lotus can kind of get away with playing front to back.
As Syndra potentially caught out here by the Thresh Gwen. Gwen will be lanterned in, as all she can do is run towards the alcove, but a Thresh hook and Gwen snip, and she's dead. Yeah,
so what we'll see is probably maybe someone in the front dying, like a Fresh getting caught, and then his Otacon may affect like a Varus or something.
As Xin Zhao potentially looks to follow the engage of the Gnar, but with a flash away, Azir is safe and sound. I don't think he can quite protect this tier 2, as now all of Deadly Lotus looking for a cross-map play for the death of their Syndra. They do see a bunch of TPs coming in here, so Hog are on the chase for a big team fight, but Deadly Lotus managed to get out in time. And for as great as it is that Hog have their carries in Azir and Varus, the Xin Zhao is also very slowly starting to get scary. Leona staying a little bit longer than maybe she has to, just running directly into Deadly Lotus. It's they're looking for the Thresh here, sorry, as now it's a full-on team fight, but Deadly Lotus just have the numbers. Huge Syndra E, Varus all managing to connect on a lot of their team. And honestly, I'm surprised that not more deaths happen there. Only a kill onto the Azir Malphite, I believe.
Yeah, that's the thing about their comp. It's just like we see a lot of flashy ults with like the SC ult and the CC, but they don't really do anything if they don't have the damage. That's the thing.
As Varus is running for his life, Thresh potentially, just lanterning him out. And they are eventually going to be looking onto this Baron that's spawning in 10 minutes. Xin Zhao pathing back into his top jungle.
Also, it was kind of the Leona engage was kind of risky, because even if they got away with nothing, it was really worth, because they got the TPs, they got the summoner spells, they were at the advantage, so the engage was risky, but it paid off at the end.
I'm actually really surprised, but I'm not sure how much of a difference maker it was, but that Atakan buff definitely feels like it did do a lot of good work in that team fight there, since a lot of it swung in their favor compared to what has so far happened. As the Thresh being caught out, the Leona trying to go onto the Gwen, Xin Zhao trying to follow up. Gwen ult is going to be used, but Leona just barely hanging on by a thread, going to be flashing out, but now the Thresh caught out in his own... but the Malphite ult goes after the Leona, as now Gnar and Xin Zhao have to go out, and Hog have found themselves a brilliant flank as Syndra just all of a sudden blowing up the Malphite, and their engage loses a bunch of steam, especially with this dragon up now. And Hog are just going to be looking to take that instead of a massive team fight. Although I don't think Deadly Lotus, with the TP in here as well, are going to let that go lightly. They do manage to get the dragon, as Gwen can be 1v1ing the Gnar in the bot lane here, but his team will be there to back him up. Gnar just barely being able to catch the Gwen. The Zir does get rooted by the Jhin root. This is the Syndra looking for a kill, and even with the Azir turret, Zhonya's invested, the Varus goes down, the Azir goes down. It's 3 dragons for Hog, but the rest of the kills got swept up by Deadly Lotus. So now it's a fight between who has the better win condition, the money of Deadly Lotus or the Dragon Soul, or the chase for Dragon Soul of Hog.
Yeah, so this is also always a pretty interesting thing where it's like if Drakes come up before Baron now, do they play for the Soul, do they play for the Baron? Because they can kind of get away with like giving Drake but getting the Baron, if that's the thing. Because then they're just getting a Drake and they have to like compete with the Dragon so that Hog doesn't get Soul. So it's the special occasion where it's like the Drake is worth more than normal Drakes because it's Soul Drake, but then also Baron is up. So you have to kind of weigh what you want to play for.
And also it was very unfortunate that Deadly Lotus weren't able to, like you said, transform that into any Baron play because they chased so deeply into the bot side of their jungle.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Sensar went behind, got the WE, like the max dash on the Fresh, which put him in a really good position to go behind and flank and just clean up the kills.
Leona going for very deep vision here. I do believe Hog are walking a little bit blind into this though. They are doubling up in the mid bush here, as Xin Zhao might look for a fight here, but he does get hooked by the Thresh. Slightly caught out here. Leona ult to back up. I think that Varus ult just barely hit as they don't have enough damage to finish him off. The Malphite does though, and they're on the chase for the Leona now as well. And with the backup of the rest of Hog's team, they take the Xin Zhao, take the Leona, and all of a sudden a lot of their engage is over. The Jhin trying to go for a little bit of scraps. The Gnar, I believe, is still ulted, so maybe there's still an angle back in. He will be going for it. And the Gwen just going by the outskirts. DL trying to find something. Shurima shuffling the Syndra into the pit, but it's not going to be enough as it's just 2v2 for DL versus Hog. And unfortunately, the Baron call after the 2 kills was just a little bit too greedy off of the Jhin ult and the Gnar ult to bring back a few very crucial kills in this game.
That is a really scary situation when you're all like low on health and you start the Baron and they have now they have the Syndra with all the cooldowns. Syndra can hypothetically hit a 3-man QE and it's just over. So it's a really scary situation. You also see them flashing out of the pit like they know something's gonna happen, right? It's a scary situation.
They do know that DL is on Baron now. I am a little bit suspicious of this now as well. Varus ult does land, not quite onto the target that they wanted, as Leona just trying to fend off the Gwen and the Varus, but the rest of Hog just barely isn't there. The TP is going to be slightly too late. Do they get the Baron for free here? Maybe Varus or Gwen maybe going to be looking onto something. Leona ult is invested, but she is separated from the rest of her team, as she is going to be picked off in exchange for this Baron. But DL do manage to get away, as the rest of the team almost managing to get out, but Jhin caught at the end of his recall. Malphite ulted. It will be a shutdown going to Hog, as Xin Zhao left running for his life, barely dodging the hook under his top tier 2 turret.
Yeah, so that's the counter Baron. Like if you do Baron and your whole team dies, a lot of them dies, then the enemy team gets that chance to do it. It's a thing you usually see, and they just did it before they could respond. But then they killed the bot lane, so only 3 Barons at least.
I do think it was also a little bit of greedy of them to back as close to the Baron pit as they were, and it was also unfortunate that Xin Zhao just so happened to lead them to the direct spot where two of his team members were recalling. As here it is, the final brawl to decide it. Will Hog get this final Cloud Soul that is happening in 20 seconds, or will DL successfully manage to defend it?
Also will be really strong on their team, I think, especially on Gwen and also the Asir.
As they do get a bunch of mid-prio, they're just posturing in the bush. I do believe they are hidden from DL, so
Yep.
they have no idea that they're in the bush. They don't see them on Dragon either. They know that something's up. I do believe they just found the Varus. No, the
Ooh.
Varus ult just barely missing, as they
Yep.
should know that they're all in
They are
the
looking
bush
for
now.
Malphite ult.
A bunch of tension, but no one's willing to pull the trigger just yet, not even moving onto the Dragon. Varus does start it up, as DL is slowly getting more and more space. They will start up the Dragon in the
They're not
face of
getting-
Deadly Lotus, but Jin ult, Leona engaged, and Xin Zhao just gonna be looking for the team fight after all. They do take down the Malphite. They look onto the Thresh here as well. The Gwen goes down, and with no smite on Hog's team, they decide to finish off the Cloud Dragon, denying them soul, and with 2 kills in their pocket, Thresh didn't die.
Yeah, so that Lotus played it really well. Couldn't get Malphite ult or anything like that. They played a really good front to back with like the Na and Leona moving up and kind of pushing them away.
I do think it's a little bit illegal that the Zero Thresh managed to get away there. Unfortunately, another Varus ult goes wide. He does get caught out here, and Syndra just completely blows up the Varus. As now it's DL knocking on the door of Hog. Unfortunately, without this Cloud Soul, they're just sitting down with no combat power and 6k gold down as they start taking down the mid inhib turret, the bot inhib turret, and the only thing that's left to defend is, I mean, well, most of the Hog's team is actually respawning, so potentially they can look for something back if they can chase 3-man Malphite ultimate, as Gwen going to ult and Leona ulting most of the backline, so Xin Zhao, Azir managing to shuffle them away, but Syndra is just way too powerful, and that's exactly like you said, the gold in their pocket is just way too much. It was a beautiful engage by Hog, but unfortunately it doesn't mean anything in the face of DL, as they take the Nexus turrets, and with the Nexus falling, they take game 1 of this best of 5.
Yeah.
GG's.
GG's. It was a really well played game.
Mhm.
But we do see at the end they even though they hit the 3-man Malphite ult, they hit the 2-man Asir ult, they just don't have enough damage. And it might be the heavy AP comp that we're seeing, but also just the gold difference.
Mhm.
So even though they get hit by all these things, they just win anyway.
Yeah, it
Just
was
brute forcing.
there's a lot of back and forth, but I'm actually really surprised. Like, I'm not sure how much of a draft diff it is, but I do also agree that the Lethality Varus is a little bit of a question mark to rely on for the AD of your team, even if it is a very strong pick.
Yeah.
But eventually, it was just the gamble that led down to who could play the team fight better, and a bit of greed from both teams here and there. But eventually, DL just managed to come out on top.
It was it was the lethality virus also, like I said, it's really hard for him because he can't just like even if he throws everything he has on like a Na or something, he's only gonna take like a chunk of his health. It's not like he's gonna do anything. He's gonna like one shot him or anything like that. Usually when you have an ADC like that, if a bruiser walks in a fight, they can't just sit there and tank the ADC. And I feel like that's kind of a problem, a big problem they had. They just they were being like too disrespected, you could say, with like the Leona now walking. They can just walk up in melee range and hit abilities with however they wanted. And then also the Syndra pick was really good this game. the Syndra not even did like a lot of the damage with like we saw her like delete one shot the Varus, but also her CC really nice and played a big part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a very exciting game for both teams. But I think we are going to quickly go to a break before coming back at you with game number 2. Don't go anywhere. In a bit.
Okay, so we are back after the first game, which was really close, a lot of back and forth. We saw both teams getting ahead, but then kind of evening out before the Lotus at the end taking a lead, getting the Baron and also contesting Soul before closing out the game. But we'll see what happens in this game.
Hmm.
Who, which champs do you think we'll see now that it's Fearless? What other champs do you think they'll play this game?
I do want to see some. I mean, I'm not actually too sure because again, I don't pay too closely attention to the league, but I do expect to see the same thing, not the
Mhm.
same thing, but like the same sort of vibe for both of these comps because a lot of it was a bunch of bot lane fighting just back and forth with both Leona Thresh and I. Looking at the champ pool of both of these teams, they do seem to be very engage heavy in that way.
Yeah, it's just the a lot of team fighting. The team fighting was really what determined the game. I feel like they hit the really the SCLs and stuff like that. That's the thing that can determine those type kind of games. So I
Mm-hmm.
do feel like we'll see like we might see now that all these CC pick champs are kind of out of rotation. We'll probably maybe see like the Karma, like you said, if it isn't banned, it'll probably come out. And we'll see maybe some enchanters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can see um some more top lane fighters,
I do believe
some
the draft is
top lane
already
carries.
going on a
Oh yeah,
bit.
I think that's going on.
It is once again Deadly Lotus on the blue side and Hog on the red side, with a very different set of bans, I believe, than the first game, with Jarvan, Orianna, Morgana being banned, and Ambessa, Karma, and Rek'Sai. I do believe these are slightly similar bans to the first game. I don't have it
Yeah,
quite uh, pulled up, but I think the only repeat from Deadly Lotus was the Jarvan ban, and they instantly first pick Vi here instead of banning it out, I believe.
yeah. So we do see here again the jungle, the Vi. Ooh, the Iron could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The Iron's very interesting champ with his ability to CC and also he's kind of he's not a frontliner, right? But he has the Daisy, so we might see that dynamic. It's a really interesting champ. I feel like even though it isn't doesn't have the highest pick rate,
Mm-hmm.
I still enjoy seeing it. And we see some Jinx, also really nice.
So
A
just
hyper carry
locking,
ADC.
locking a lot of their damage into this Jinx here. Uh, I noticed that over the break that apparently we weren't reading chat as much, so I've gotten a second device here. It was Deadly Lotus who won game one. For anyone who just joined the stream, this is game two of a best of five. It's Deadly Lotus versus Nasty Arc Piggies, I believe is the full name, but I will just call them Hog. And the first game went to Deadly Lotus.
Yeah, so
So.
maybe we'll see like a Jinx centered comp now with like a lot of peeling and enchanting because I'm thinking the Ivern is jungle. So probably
Mhm.
maybe see like a Lulu support, something like that. And then we can see like a Jinx going crazy using Excited to take down the team. We do see the Severe here, which is a really good pick into Jinx because you can spell shield both the Jinx E, so you can go through it, and also Jinx W. It's a really nice counter. We see the Rumble
Mhm.
top lane, nice. Maybe we'll get some action this time. We maybe see like
Mhm.
a top lane stomp. Could be interesting.
And I'm not sure how much of Deadly Lotus's ADC plays Sivir, but I wonder if this is just something to like answer into um how
Jinx.
the damage that Jinx does into the late game, or maybe it's just very
Hmm.
oppressive early game with the wave clear as well, just so that you have a lot of prio for something like dragons, which you otherwise would have slightly weaker on blue side. The Ahri does get picked on for Hog, which is just a very solid blind pick into anything that
Hmm.
DL would have.
Also, the Ahri is really nice synergy. I feel like with the team right now, especially if the Jinx, because if she can get like that one good charm, Jinx can take that person down. She can get excited passive, and like do some real damage. So it's a really
Mm-hmm.
nice team comp they're building right now.
I do think they
Um,
are missing a tiny bit of engage though, which is why I'm
yep.
assuming the pike ban is there. They also want to just take away some comforts from the mid lane or something that can also be played support in the Silas and Zareth. I assume that it's either just going to be a a Rel or a Rakan ban finally here from DL.
Hmm.
Few more seconds. Ooh, the suspense.
The Lulu ban, yeah, that's also what I
Lulu.
talked about. The Lulu could also be really strong, and also a really good way to counter engage with the Lulu ult is really strong also into Vi, because when she engages, you can hit the Lulu ult, and Jinx becomes almost unkillable with Lulu Ivern, and she just sits there like a turret and kills everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that the Lulu ban is valid here. So, but now they do have more open for things like you said, like the real Huracan can be really good,
Well,
and that really
if they
engage.
want engage, here's
Yeah.
exactly what they want. The only reason why I was thinking more engage supports because that's a lot of what we saw game one, and also I believe DL wouldn't mind an engage support of their own in, or no, an enchanter of their own because I believe Sivir does go well with a lot of enchanters as well. But
Mhm.
at this point, a little bit of an incorrect read here by me. I can pretty much expect anything here, but
We do
I
see the
believe.
cannon, which fits the engage
Mhm.
quota they do need. Talia pick here is really good into Ari. It's also like a respawn pick.
I would like to see I still would like to see an engaged support from Hog, and
Yeah,
not to. Okay, well
they
the
do
Rel
pick
does get
them.
picked away as well. I
So
need a really big pick here.
and
The
Alistar is really
Alistar.
good. Alistar
Mhm.
is looking really nice.
I
Also,
think
they
that.
can really look for plays in the bot lane now with like the tower diving into
Mhm.
severe rail. I feel like with the Alistar ult and Daisy, the Jinx, they can definitely make some plays here.
Mhm.
But we'll see. Also, the top lane matchup kind of got cut short by the range cannon, but we'll maybe see like the cannon using his ulti, and it goes off cooldown. Rumble hits a couple of slows, and there might be some fighting. But I think most of the time the cannon just gonna sit back and farm while the Rumble do the same. But maybe we'll see something. Also, the Rumble has chance to catch him off guard with the ultimate.
Mhm. I
Um,
would say personally, I think maybe I still prefer DL's draft a little bit more because it feels like what they have is a little bit more solid. Uh, the only reason why I say that is because Hog feels a little bit split in maybe what their team identity is, where they have Ivern and Jinx, which is saying, okay, we want to go into the late game, but that's paired with Ahri, Ken, and Alistair, which very much want to go into the team fights. They do have very strong team fights, but I don't think the tools that they have are as strong as something as a massive Rel ult, a massive Rumble ult,
mhm.
Sivir, Vi, just the everything.
I do think that what the deal has in like the takedown, because they kind of need to get to the Jinx in some way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they have is of course like the Rel and Vi, but it's really easily countered by the Ivor and Alistar, I feel like. So I think the Jinx will have a good chance of staying in the backline and doing something. Um, so the and also the front to back potential here is also really good. Because the cannon runs in and like who's gonna like I don't see anyone on DL's team who wants to like go in and tank the kill node, right? And give Jinx her reset.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be like really tough for them to play team fights in a way that's not just, oh, let's hope we hit a good Talia W or a Rumble or something. It's gonna be really tough, like the standoffs where there are like five people here, five people here, like at the Dragon, like we saw last game where there were just five people, like kind of a Mexican standoff type of thing where no one wanted to engage, right? But here we
Mm-hmm.
do really see Hawk can definitely engage if Kennen has E ult. He can literally go in, get free people. Alistar can do kind of the same thing, and I don't really see Def Lotus the best way to respond to that, unless they hit, like I said, like a Talia W on the Jinx or something. But it is really they have a lot of front to back potential, unlike the the DL side, which kind of has to deal with the Kennen ult and the Alistar CC. They kind of have to get like a pick, kind of like we saw last game, where they also relied on getting like the various court and
Mm-hmm.
Azir stuff like that.
And also a lot of the engage from both sides. Rel, I think it's a bit easier, but with Alistar, a lot of the CC here is just not going to be cleansable. So any team that does get
Mm-hmm.
caught out, you have the Alistar Rel Vi CC, you have Talia. Like getting caught out means life or death. So I believe it is once again just a repeat, and not a repeat in the same way because I think both teams have to play a bit more carefully around both of their team. And Rel and Alistair don't stick to their target pre-6 in the same way that a Leona Thresh do.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see this how this game folds out, and very interesting to see how this Kennen performs here as well. Let me actually just see if this Kennen has been played at all by Hog as well, just out of curiosity. 1 second.
Also see this layer.
But yeah,
I
it
don't
is
see.
once again a completely fresh pick for
Yeah,
Hog to pull out the Kennen here, which I find very interesting.
it's also very unlike his play style. Now looking at his champs, he plays a lot of Fiora, Sion, Cho'Gath, Gnar, Jax. So he is kind of like um, it is like a fresh play style. So we'll see how he does. But it is he does play a lot like Gnar in lane. I feel like he's just kind of a range lane bully who doesn't really let you walk up, and especially is really strong into champs like Rumble, who doesn't have again any sustain. So every time Rumble get hit by a Q, he can just get chunked, and can't really do that much. So it is a pretty tough matchup for Rumble, I feel.
Hmm.
And
And it
also
is.
the wave clear the Rumble has to do, he has to walk up to the wave, use his flamethrower, and Kennen can like really easily punish that, especially if he's just a little bit ahead. He just ease up and uses his full combo with ult, and the Rumble can't do anything. So I think we'll see a lot of Rumble farming with his E this game.
Hmm. And hopefully the top counter pick works out a little bit better than the Malphite.
Yeah.
No flame intended, of course. I'm just very excited to see. It's a new pick. Let's see how all of this pans out. I'm also very interested to see how the Talia fares into the Ari. I think it will be. I'm sure she does work fine. Just putting a field of rocks around Ari and then stuff like her ultimate or the movement speed from her W becomes a lot harder to use without taking a bunch of damage.
Mhm.
And it's also very hard to like read what she could do for a comp. Maybe split up the the
Yeah.
Hog's team where the
That's a
engage is either on either side of the wall or the damage is cut off from the engage, so on and so forth.
yeah. That's another thing you can look at with like how useful Tylea's ult is gonna be. Is gonna you can look at how many people can actually like jump over it like easily, and we actually see that they have Iron, Jinx, Kennen, which literally have no ability except Flash, of course, to go over it. So if she can hit like a really good Taliyah ult where she cuts off the Jinx, then it's gonna be really tough for Hog to win a team fight like that. And same with Kennen, right? Because he has to if they don't have flash up, then it's kind of just like a long CC because they just have to stand there and look at the team fighting. So Tailiol can be like really vital here, especially in Baron and Drake fights. If she walls them in Drake pit or Baron pit, and it's Ivern, Jinx, Kennen, then it's gonna be really tough for them to not just get uh, destroyed by like a
Mhm.
Rumble or the severe W stuff like that. So I do think Talia is a really nice pick. The other thing is though that her E is of course a dash counter, so it's kind of a vice versa. But then we do see that the dash counter is really good into that team with Alistar Ari, because Alistar, if he tries dashing through her E, right, she can do the WQ combo, so he'll just accidentally knock them away. So
Mhm.
that's a really annoying interaction for Alistar.
As I do believe we are slowly rolling on to the Rift now. Let's take a quick glimpse at runes and a summoners. I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary here. I don't see a lot of Talia,
Um,
so I don't know about Phase Rush. I might be talking a little bit too fast since I'm not sure if it's been pulled up onto the stream yet. I believe. Okay, yep, there it is. As we're all on the Rift now, both teams have decided to spread out as well. So unfortunately, there isn't going to be any crazy engages that are happening level 1. And once again, do the jungler and mid laner see each other? Yes, they do. I think they might just go for another
30
dance
seconds
battle.
until
Not quite.
minions spawn.
Just roaming around, saying la di da,
yeah,
as Ivern does.
I do think we do see the commit on Rumble, which kind of tells us the pattern he's gonna play on top lane, which is just like he's gonna try to poke out the cannon with his E and stuff like that. Because normally you would go like a more aggressive rune, but it's really hard to do into
Hmm.
these range champs.
Yeah.
But like, except for that, the runes are pretty normal. The phase rush Talia is pretty interesting. You could go. Talia works well with quite a lot of runes, especially also first strike and electrocute. You could also go electrocute, like Ari did. So the thing is that now that Ari has electrocute and Talia doesn't, that will on average make Ari's trade like a little bit better, which can give her more prio, and it could be
Hmm.
tough for Talia to like keep up with that.
And
Especially
I'm assuming
especially
the
because
grand.
the
Sorry, go
sorry,
on.
you go ahead.
And also that phase rush just gets away from a lot of the trouble that this team might cause in the form of Ari going in, of Alistar going in, and also just in case Ivan ever comes, dodging that very critical Q for any of the ganks that happen. As Rel, gonna be looking
Yeah,
onto the
it's
Alistar. Sorry, we
the
skipped.
Alistar,
Yeah, go on.
the Alistar, the Alistar is quite a good counter when it comes to Rel. I feel like because you can knock her away when she tries to go for W. And we see the Alistar knocking Sevilla in. The Rel countering with the small knock up.
As
Yeah,
it is a very good chunk onto the Alistar here.
yeah. So they're just taking like small trade, which makes sense. But they'll probably look for like a more killing blow type of deal, some point. But yeah, like I was saying, the both Talia and Ari are like both the identities kind of like pushing waves and roaming. So they both have really good wave clear. So what they'll look for is like a wave clear into roam, and sometimes the electrocute can make the difference between like the Talia can't really follow up on the Ari because he doesn't have damage. Now we see bot lane fighting. We see the Alistar going in, taking a chunk of his health. The severe Q at the end making the trade really good.
But other than that, nothing much more going to be happening as
Yeah.
both junglers almost done with their clear.
The
Ivan going to
Alistar
be
BMing.
slightly faster. Look at him
The
go, ring his little cowbell. Ivan
Yeah.
does finish his clear a little bit faster, as Ivan does.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he's going to be maybe look onto something here, but Vi is very shortly going to be done with her
They actually don't have any vision
as
here.
well.
So Ivan is disguised. Could be interesting. They could look for engage here. The
Or
enemy
maybe looking
hitting
onto
free.
the Vi in the tribush.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Actually, if Vi shows some tribush here, they could be dangerous. Because they think they have the advantage. They actually think they have the advantage because Vi is there. Oh, and then they
Vi
look.
going in.
It's good, really good. Going in. They have the CC. They have the Alistar. Flash W. Perfect. Into the Jinx trap. The charm. Perfect. Perfectly played. That was really well played. It's just the setup, the bait. It's the thing that the bot lane and Vi are really confident because they see, oh, we have 3 people, they're only 2. So they're really confident in themselves. They're just walking up. The Vi just walking up, kind of face checking the push. He doesn't.
Really a little bit far up here.
Yeah, a little bit far. We see the Alistar, the Ivan holding Q, flashing before queuing. He's holding the Q, still has it. Nice, he used it. In melee range, we see the charm and into the finisher. Perfect.
I do find it a little bit unfortunate how the minion waves seem to just perfectly part so that both Ivan Q and Ari Charm is able to land there. As both junglers now, Ivan was able to double scuttle
we see
here.
the rail going in. Queuing. The Alistar goes in. They might look for a kill. She flashes away.
Just a
Unfortunate.
small trade in the bot lane. And he keeps ringing his cowbell. A nice little bit of BM from Hog. Ari does take back in, but unfortunately, Talia can't really punish it as much as the Rift goes back to normal, and the life of this Talia will become a lot harder now that she is 2 kills up, and she is sitting on a very important lost chapter as Talia's, I believe, just trying to rush Merc Treads in this matchup here as well.
Yeah, so again we see the electrocute, which is kind of this like lane bully rune into the phase rush, and now she's ahead, so now it's gonna be really tough for Talia. So she's just trying to neutralize the lane as much as possible by going Merc Tread, which makes a lot of sense.
And also with the confidence of this Iron of the Dark Seal by saying, well, we already got 2 kills here in the early game, why not see if we can get more, and if he gets a couple of stacks on the Dark Seal, a few pages in the book, maybe we even have a Medjai's game, and this is already a very brilliant start to Hog's game.
We see the Alistar getting Realm of Flash, used it before. They can't finish it though, but it's looking really good. The bot lane is looking really hard. They will need the help of Vi. They're not getting pushed this wave in, and the Rel not getting caught.
Area, and both supports are very much on low HP.
The Ari moving down. We see the Ari moving. She's on a ward. She walks back, but I think they'll just look for a clean back.
As both.
It's also
Both bot laners just decide peace over violence, go back into their base, as now there is the first dragon that has just come up. We've already seen that Ari and the Jinx and Alistar have gotten a lot of prio
Wait,
in
wait.
their respective lanes, so
We actually see Vi just cleared her bot side, so now she has to go top. So there's something to do. So this could be dangerous. Could be like they might lose Drago. Yeah, she's kind of invading the enemy jungle,
potentially
hoping
looking for a dive
to.
onto the cannon. It is
Yeah,
very
they.
slightly awkward for the Ivern because he doesn't have Daisy, which would normally help him out with the taking of the objectives as well. Alistar does come along to see if he can fish for anything, as there's a bit of tension here in the mid lane, as both supports not quite in lane.
They have
But now, yeah, Jinx is gone here,
we can
and
see they have
now
no
they have
vision on
dive.
bot side. We can see that they had no vision on bot side. They don't know that they're on the Drake, but they can of course sense it because the bot lane's missing. But that's all the thing about Iron support, that he can't really solo objective. He has to get either Ari or Jinx to come up, but it should be fine this time. Also Devi just having to go top side because she doesn't have anything to do bot side. Kinda healed the deal on the Drake.
Free Dragon going to the Wave Hog, and this is looking a
Yeah,
lot more
and
favorable
we
than the
do
first
see-
game.
We do see the Ari just bullying the Talia out of the lane. Of course, not just because of the execute, but it does play a role also because of the gold lead and stuff like that. So it's gonna be tough for Talia to match Ari's energy now, but she does have the ult to move faster,
And
potentially.
for what it is
to
worth,
fight.
I don't think Talia has been CSing too bad compared to this Ari here, up 2 kills. As also this cannon pick a little bit awkward here. I'm not sure how the trades have gone thus far, since both of them appear to be quite healthy, but the Rumble is up a little bit of CS here, and the Jinx off of the early game fiasco was also able to be a lot more aggressive.
We do see Bot standing in bush here, trying to trap, maybe waiting for the Severe to walk up. We see the trading grubs for the Iron being bot side here. They could look for tower dive. The Severe is alone in the bot lane. So if they push the wave here and Iron walks up, they could look for something. The rail is moving down, but Ari also, so they could look for the 2-man tower dive, but we'll see.
Although I
she's
do
gonna
think
go back the wave.
because Ivan got spotted on vision, they just want to show their due respect here. As is Alistar still going in? No, not
They're
quite.
kind of zoning away from the wave, getting a small lead, of course, minion lead, which is really good. The mid lane is just clearing on. Now we see that the Ari hit the item power spike actually.
As
So
by
the mid
third time in Ivan's jungle.
the mid lane power difference is really high right now, because she has the Mertress into Malignant. So a fight with Ari and Talia is gonna be very favored towards Hawk.
As Ivern
based on
and
gold.
Vi probably colliding here in the jungle. Vi catching out the Ivern. Probably not the fight that you want to take.
So this is the power of the mid lane being ahead, right? We see the Rill going in. The Alistar has the bells. You can hit the stun with the Jinx slow. They're gonna look to close down Rill, but she does have flash here. Oh,
and that
the
is
Jinx
a
ult
crazy
kills.
amount of damage from the Jinx ult.
Yeah, the Jinx ult execution. We
As
see the mid lane is
trading
brawling a
over
little
with
bit.
Talia.
Yeah.
And
So there we did see that the Rill definitely didn't think the Jinx ult was gonna kill it because he has flash. So it's just the surprise damage. It's yeah. It is like even I was surprised by that. I didn't think it would kill either. So also it could be because she does have the BF sword. So she is the gold is rushed into AD and the Jinx ult, which is an execute.
And also
It's really high damage.
Jinx does have a Yunta bot here, as Ari looking for a
they're
little bit of
looking-
damage onto the Talia.
The Rill going in,
Rill
getting the
jumping
mini
up.
wave. They have Daisy. Could look for Charm maybe on the Rill. No, she doesn't have it. Yeah. It's just
But
nothing
as I
came
was
out of it.
saying, the Jinx finally has her Yunta built, which is very bad news for the server because, like we said in draft, Jinx just really wants to scale, and the Yunta is the first in the bank of scale, which the more auto attacks she gets off, the more crit she builds, and all of a sudden the
Ooh,
much scarier she
good look.
becomes in team fights. Just a fun little hex splash from Alistar. I
Yeah.
think scaring us more than it does the enemy team, since he wasn't on vision.
We do also see the Rill roams consequences on the CS. We can see that Severe was zoned off from the wave, and Jinx is now a healthy amount ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But they do get the grubs for that because the realm kind of had more pressure on the map.
As I still think Talia is going very even with this R here, which I find to be very impressive, but knowing that maybe Ivern's somewhere in the bot lane, he is going for a lane gank here. There aren't any wards to know that if this Ivern is here, he doesn't have Daisy up quite yet, but if he lands that Q, it could spell absolute devastation because that means that the Alistar can go in, knock up, and then W them back into the team. The Rel is going to be warding here though, as Cannon, maybe slightly too far off. Yep, gets
they just finish him off.
That's the
They have the tower dive by ult. Oh, we see the bot lane, the Alistar ult tanking. Okay, the Jinx getting the... Just need to kill the Severe for the reset. She gets the reset, she kills the Daisy tanking. Yeah, it was a clean... that's the thing, they have the Alistar ult, so they have to be really careful with the tower dives on bot lane. The Alistar can just tank for days.
And
the Ari getting to push in the wave, finally punishing the Talia for being behind, having to recall all the time, because she got a little behind. But the Talia, of course, is keeping up. But they would really be able to use Ari's power more if they could get like a river fight or something. Because the Ari is a fair bit stronger than Talia, but she can't really use it to anything because there haven't been really any river fights as of yet.
But very good by Hog.
We do see the solo kill now. Taking the Q to
looking
ult in, auto, flash, the W, nice,
greedy,
she finishes him off.
Does manage to get it.
Gets the ult off the Vi, cutting her up, the charm. We do see the Iron shield.
Support. Oh my goodness.
Alistar Q Wing her back. Oh, the Alistar might have knocked her into safety.
Very unfortunate from the side of Hog, but what I was about to say is that I really like this from Hog, where they're putting a lot of gold into their carries here, where it goes a lot to the way of Ahri and Jinx here. A lot of gold going their way, and this is exactly what they wanted, where Kennen, Ivern, and Alistar are missing quite a bit of damage. This Ahri Jinx being as fat as they are is exactly what they want for this game, as even though the goal is, I'd say, quite fairly even, Vi, even with Vi like invading the tops, Ivan's top side and whatnot, I really like the way that things are looking for Hog going into this late game.
Yeah, it is. I do feel like it is really that the gold is better distributed on Hog's team, in the place that a lot of the gold is also on the Rumble top, but we'll maybe see him like try to make some plays in the team fighting. But as of right now, he can't really do much in all of these like fights happening bot side.
There is a very quiet resistance in the Vi Talia in the top side of this.
We're looking for this should be a tower dive, but we'll see if they can get. They're probably gonna wait for next wave maybe. The Ahri is looking. The Iron is also looking. They could be detrimental if they die, if they kill the cannon and then get caught by the Ahri Iron. But let's see. They're trying to get the tower dive.
The
cannon ult,
try and get away,
cannon dies
ult
before.
is just gonna do too much.
The Ahri finish off the Vi, gets the ult reset, dashes in. She doesn't have enough. She doesn't have any cooldowns to finish off the Talia. The Iron Daisying. Daisy can maybe get a knockout on Talia here. No. She used the charm. We see the Alistar getting caught in.
Hold on a second.
Both bot lane. Both bot lane as well.
Yeah, Jinx Alistar dying in a 2v2 that unfortunately happened off screen. But all of a sudden, I suppose a lot of things are going the way of Dark Lotus. I'm a little bit confused since I think.
Yeah, I'm also confused because they're both full health. So I don't know what. We do see Severe and Rel with full health, so it must have been a really favored fight bot lane. But unfortunately we didn't see that. And they get the tower, actually the first tower, which give them one step closer to feed. I don't think anyone has feed yet, so now they're looking for objectives.
I do believe Hog did get the first 3 kills, and that DL got the first tower, where Talia might be a little bit caught out with the Alistar headbutting the Talia.
We do see the Alistar walking up with the bells, the Ahri flanking, but they won't be able to get anything, unfortunately. The cannon hitting the Q, maybe? No. The Rumble could be caught here, actually. The Rumble is walking too far up. Might be getting caught.
But DL.
The Rel going in. The Rel with doesn't have ult up yet, but Alistar might be able to get off this without. Oh, we're looking at team fight. The Vi going in on the Iron. The Rel looking for Ari, Will getting charmed, Ari getting down, and we do see Daisy coming in a little bit late. With the might be able to finish up the Rumble. We see Jinx walking bot lane. The Daisy hitting the Iron Shield on Rumble. Daisy dying. Yeah, the Kennen can't see the angle. The Kennen can't get in with the even though he has flash ult, can't really get the angle on the flash ult. Even though he could have turned the fight a lot, but it's just unfortunate.
I think the difference in Sivir being there versus Talia just ulting there. Actually, no, she didn't even invest her ult, but I do think that she is a lot better in those teamfight situations where it's even though that Jinx did get a lot of solo XP and gold farming versus the Talia bot lane, that's not exactly what you want, and it was also a little bit of greed from the side of Hog. As I was also saying that.
Looking for the Hex Flash maybe, to W her back. If she doesn't have time to react to the spell shield, could be really strong.
That's
He's
exactly
gonna wait for spell shield, W.
And...
Yeah, shit blocked it. Unfortunate. But we do see getting a little bit of poke. It was a nice attempt, and they will probably get the tower either way now. Oh, we see the bot lane, the Ahri hitting Charm and finishing off with those. She just has too many items, just brute forcing her way with Hylia, dashing into her. There's no tower to protect her, she can't do anything. The Ahri just too far ahead.
And all of a sudden, the wallet from the side of Ahri very flagrantly being shown as Hog are slowly starting to even out the gold in this game. And like I said, the last thing for maybe something like feats of strength, I guess, also as an indication of how close this game is the final one is going to be the objectives, where both teams are now sitting at 2 objectives apiece, with the Mountain Dragon and subsequently the Mountain Soul up for grabs for both teams, spawning in 30 minutes.
Yeah, we do see that Hawk has prioritized Drakes more. They are ahead 2 Drakes. We see the TV behind. They need to get some CC, but I think they'll just be a little wasted. But now Kennen is there for the Drake.
I do think it's a little bit disastrous if Hog are able to get away with this. It's a lot of space that DL have afforded Hog here.
Yeah,
they do know that there's a lot of vision denied from them.
Yeah, they have no. We can see they have no vision in bottom river, which is really bad. The Drake spawning now. They have to respond in some way. We do see a TP from top. The Talia coming in. They might look for a really good well W. Well placed well W can be the game changer. We do see the Rumble looking at the corner. The Will walking up. The Iron hitting Q. The Talia ult, but they can't seem to get an engage on people on one side. The Daisy dying, no Iron ult. The Flash ult cannon, okay, hitting the stun. He's gonna die. The Alistar walking away with ult, and the cannon going down. Yeah, the Hawk is getting engaged on. They have low health. The Severe ult getting in. Okay, the Vi getting in, finishing with her E. Severe charmed. Ivan will have to use flash. Rumble flashes after him. We do see Talia chasing with his passive. With the passive, he might be able to get WQ. So
Ahri and Ivan sent running for their lives, and unfortunately, what would have made for a very nice Soul Dragon now goes over to feats of strength for the side of DL, and also just denies that scaling in the dragons of this side of Hog, and that's kind of what DL were hoping for, to deny that final wave state, and now using the Herald, using the grubs, everything that they've gotten up until this part to break down the objectives of the side of Hog. As Vi is staying a bit too long, but just goes into the Rift out of here.
And then the Rift dies. Vi gets to Q out though. The Alistar looking for some CC maybe, but there isn't none. Jinx does get her excited passive on the Rift but can't use it for anything.
And very crucially, I do believe DL were able to pick up both the shutdown of the Ahri and the Jinx, which would otherwise be their slam dunk carries in this game. And just one more time on those on that team fight, I do think that Hog a little bit overplayed their cards in the Cannon ult, where it needed to just do more to more people, and Alistar not getting. I believe he was quite decently chunked out. Without being able to act as the front line for the Ahri and the Jinx, they become the targets themselves, and they just instantly get blown up.
Also, the Iron ult just got killed. That's the thing. So that the Iron ult just got in a way wasted. So the Cannon ult was kind of ambitious because they didn't really have any cooldowns left, and like you said, they were low on health. So it was kind of hard to follow up on that. The Alistar also ulted. Ooh, we see the rail getting hit by Charm. might be W's away. Probably going to be a fight over Artagon. We do see both top laners in the top lane, but we do see that only Rumble has TP.
Ral getting very low here.
Yeah, well under half HP, which is Ivan walking up, maybe hitting a Q. The
He
Ellie start
TP
looking for
for this,
something. They do start it.
as
They do
Kennen
have
needs
the
to
number
follow up here.
advantage.
Kennen doesn't
Kennen
have
does-
TP for this fight either.
Yeah, exactly. The Kennen does not have TP. They do have the number advantage here. I think they're just gonna have to give it, but we'll see. Maybe the yes, they had the
Alright,
charm
so
on the
lining
Rel.
up
The
the
Rel
Rel
is
again.
dead. The 4-man Jinx ult. We do see the Daisy coming in a little bit far behind. I think they'll just be able to run away with the Artagan here. Unfortunate that they changed the roses thing so they can just take it and run away. They don't have to take the roses.
I
It
do
would probably
think
been different.
never mind, they do get a bit of damage down
Ooh.
onto the Alistar.
The Alistar
Vi
doubling
get
away.
away from
The
this
Alistar hitting
though.
ult. The charm missing, but we do have Vi ult. The Alistar getting killed.
Vi
The Vi just
repeatedly
being able to
queuing
dash
up.
away.
Yeah, repeatedly queuing back in and then saying, how about you like this? How you like this? And then finally ulting in and saying, okay, enough games, we're getting out of here. Ivern does catch out the Vi, so it is onto the Ahri
It might-
Ivern to
yeah.
chase.
Ari is pressing ult here, might be able to catch him, misses the charm though, and Rumble is there to prevent further chasing. And the Vi will get away.
And just for good measure, we sweep up the control ward, as if not enough action has happened here in the bot lane. As the Kennen now matching up with the Talia. It's been a very unfortunate game for this Kennen not being able to fight here in this Artacan and not being able to make a lot of the counter pick here as well again. He does get shoved into the Talia.
And Talia hitting Q, flashing for the Q auto to finish him off, and he is dead. The Kennen is also one of the most gold deficient on the team right now. He is only sitting on less than 2 items, so he is an easy target for other people who can get to him.
This Horizon focus, Seraph's Embrace really starting to be felt on this Talia, as all of a sudden, what went from a massive shutdown on the Jinx and Ahri just feels like DL once again just slowly running away with the game. It's still fairly even, but the win conditions that made Hog's game look so pleasant to begin with, all of a sudden is getting diminished, and it doesn't look so powerful anymore.
Yeah, we also see the Kennen is postponing the Sonya's buy, which can be pretty risky, especially into a comp like that, where he can't just go in.
I do believe he's building a Shadow Flame, yeah?
Yeah, so he's focusing more on the damage part, which might be able to work well with getting them low for Jinx can get his passive. We do see the Rel walking in the bush, is stunning the Alistar. Alistar walking back and not looking to engage. We do see the Rumble from behind, but not too much happening. The Drake is coming up. The Drake is coming up, so they're trying to get vision control, of course. They are doing a pretty good job.
Absolutely nothing here for Hog to see. They need to go here as 5 through some point in this lane. Ahri is also just there in the top lane. She can potentially TP in, but until then it's just going to be a 5v4. Vi potentially looking for either Ivern or Jinx.
The Alistar pressing alt, Wing in, securing the Vi. They're looking to Wing the Vi into the game. They're looking for a reset on Jinx here on Vi. The Rel hitting 3-man ult. The Ahri going in. The Kennen all looking good. The Jinx dying, she can't get reset. The Alistar dying, they're all going down. It was a really close fight. They're looking for the Kennen, they're looking to finish it up. The W barely missing, the Talia W barely missing. The Iron getting cleaned up. And only Kennen gets to escape.
The synergy of DL just proving way too much for Hog to handle, with that beautiful engage from Rel, being able to follow up with Rumble, just slowly melting the entire team. Once again, unfortunately, with the engage, what Hog won in the Alistar, in the Kennen, none of the carries on Hog's team are able to react to it quick enough, and DL just get a dragon for this, get tier 2 turret, and are slowly snowballing away with this game.
It is just unfortunate that they didn't get the Jinx reset. Like, they were all getting low, but then they all went to like a quarter health, and then the Jinx died, and it was really unfortunate that she didn't get that one reset. Could kind of run out and then finish them off. So that's a big reason why that the DL ran away with the victory there. But it was a really close fight, and we did see a fair amount of a really good CC chain with the Alistar Q and the charms. The Alistar getting W in, getting caught.
They don't know where the rest of Hog is, so they will let the cow walk free here.
Yeah, I think they'll just look to get vision control over Baron, push the waves, and then try to get a Baron in some way, and maybe look for a pick, especially on with the Vi here, looking,
Mm-hmm.
see if we get a cheeky ult in to especially on the Iron would be really big. We can see the Talia pushing the wave top lane, and there's no one to catch it. I think they'll move up maybe.
They
We
do want
see
to
the cannon
potentially look
bot lane.
onto Alistar.
We do see the Vi getting caught a little bit, but the Rel going in, hitting Q on 3 people. The Talia W on the Iron. Iron getting low, but the Talia getting caught now with the Iron Q. The WQ combo 2-man knock up from Alistar. We do see the cannon TPing in from behind. Okay. Wing in. Hitting the charm. The cannon dies though. The, the finishing off the Alistar.
Mm-hmm. I do
Yeah,
think
so there
Hog
we would.
did a really good job of focusing on the part of the team which was completely split from one another, and they were able to get a couple of shutdowns back, most notably on the Talia. But unfortunately, this Rel is such a big HP bar that by the time the rest of the team was able to rotate and TP back into the fight, the pure team fighting power of DL and also just the gold in their pockets just proves too much. As Sivir getting very low here,
Yeah.
not wanting to risk dying to Baron, just runs off, and they will be recalling in a bit with the Baron empowered recall. As
The Rumble did really just get to stand there and flamethrow everyone. It was really just the pure damage output that outdid them. But again, it's still not even they are a little bit behind in gold, but I can still see very high chance of them coming back with maybe some pick or something like that, where they Jinx passive into like a full man clear. But we'll see. The Real is doing a really good job of engaging and, like you said, focusing on the backline and getting the Jinx down before she can get anything too crazy.
And I do also think they very much want to slow down the game, and after waiting for this Baron to just fizzle out for the side of DL, they want to create a lot more space and almost go into like a deathball comp, because whatever engage they do have, they want to be able to engage on it immediately. I think a very common theme for Hog here has been using flash and then using an engage tool, whereas DL will still have their disengage tools, they will still have their flash afterwards, and it's just a little bit over forcing from the side of Hog, as now they're using Baron to march down the bot lane, and they're slowly knocking onto the inhib turrets of Hog and asking what do you want to do as they go in on the Vi.
They used to use Daisy, the Alistar stacking his things, the Charm hitting the Vi, okay, the Rel ulting in on 2 people, they do kill the Alistar and the Iron maybe, yes. The Jinx getting under half HP, the Rel flashing on her, they're hitting the Charm, the Cannon flashing with ult, the Rel dying, the Jinx is alive still, she dies to the Flamethrower, Cannon dies to Severe, and Ari escapes with Flash. Yeah,
And
so
this is just completely insane, where the Rumble has just gotten out of control. He's sitting on 7-0-11, this Sivir is sitting on 7-1 and 11, and without having been shut down this entire game, they're with Baron empowered minion waves just slowly going to knock on the door of this Nexus.
Yeah, we do see the Rumble zoning off the area a little bit. They do have the Baron minions, which are stronger. They might be able to finish off the game here, but we'll see. Charm missing, they don't have a lot. The Alistar going in with WQ. Alistar does not have ult and dies instantly.
And
We
Rumble
might looking for a
really
closeout here. Yeah, and the Nexus is going to go down. And that is
game 2, going
game
once
2,
again to DL in this best of 5 of DL versus Hog. We still have one more game to decide if DL will take it all for themselves or if Hog are gonna come back with a legendary reverse sweep. I have been Panda, I've been joined by Felix aka Ulvi, and we will very quickly go to a break. Be right back. Hello, hello. I am Mildly Panda, aka Panda. I am joined here by Felix, aka Ulvi. You are watching the upper bracket best of five game versus Nasty Arc Piggies and Deadly Lotus. The current standings are looking like 2 to Deadly Lotus, 0 to Nasty Arc Piggies. This is game number 3. Yes, I am Tibman. It is a best of 5, and we just came off of 2 very crazy games where it's a lot of back and forth, but ultimately Deadly Lotus was able to wrestle their way out on top. And we did see a few unorthodox things. Unfortunately, the mid laner and the ADC were a very huge asset for the side of Deadly Lotus, and it's been a little bit pressure on the carries in Hog to try and claw their way back to get a little bit more space, but ultimately Hug wasn't able to find that, and Deadly Lotus took both games. But what did you think of the previous 2 games, or more specifically the last game, since it just happened, Ulvi?
I do think it was really interesting I do think the teams are a lot more close, and I would like for Hawk to at least win one of these games, so it's not a 3-0, because I don't think, like we also talked about before, it doesn't represent them very well if they go 3-0 and it's just a no loss for Def Lotus. I will like to see some blood be spilled, and
Mm-hmm.
Hawk coming back with some wins, potentially winning, maybe going 3-0 now. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But the last game, it was like you also talked about, it was pretty carry heavy with the Jinx Ari as the main damage focus. They did have Kennen, which is potentially a damage dealer, but he was put pretty far behind in the laning phase, and at a pretty high goal deficit. So was pretty hard for him to deal some damage, and also didn't build defensively into Sonya's and went for more of a full damage build, which was kind of hard for him to like stay alive, especially in the high damage team that the Def Lotus had with the Rumble, Sivir, Tylea, and Vi, who just kind of burst him down. But yeah, we did see a lot of the we did see a lot of great plays, especially also in the laning phase with the ganks, where we did see the Iron, even though he doesn't have a lot of damage, setting up some of the ganks with his Q and getting the Arya hit. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think that Hog would have been able to do much more if they relied more on the Ari, and maybe try to force some Vera fights. Because there was a point where Ari was in her inventory at least like 2k gold ahead in the early game on Tylea.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't have she didn't have any time to back because the Ari just perma pushing waves. So I do think that they could have played more on that advantage with the Ari. She had
Mm-hmm.
a whole Malignance into a Merc Threats Tylea. So if they played more at that advantage with like some Vera fights, either in top lane or bot lane, with the Iron, could have been a different game.
As I do believe the draft for this game is now slowly starting. This is the first of the series where Hog is deciding to. It was Hog's choice of which side, and they decide to go blue side. So the first side swap of the game, where both teams are, I believe, sticking to the bans that they want.
Yeah.
I believe it's Ambessa ban finally coming out here for Hog, and a Morgana ban coming out for DL, but they are thinking on it a little bit. No, the Ambessa ban still goes through, and I do believe it's Morgana. I'm not sure if that's support or never mind. It's
Ooh,
just Nefiri taking away one of
I
the
do see the
broken
Fury.
jugglers of this patch.
Might give like a foreshadowing to their comp if they don't ban Morgana. Might be
Hmm.
like some things that don't care much about the Black Shield stuff like that. We'll see.
As they first pick the Maokai, very solid. pick here by Hog, just on principle that it can go absolutely everywhere, support jungle. I would like to look into their champ pools a little bit more, but unfortunately I'm not very well familiar with either of these teams. But I am going to predict it's most likely in the jungle, because it's very
Yeah,
comfortable there. As I believe DL think it is that way too, picking the Sejuani here.
yeah. I do think Shijani and Maokai play a lot the same way with their pick potential, the W and all kind of the same caliber with like the high CC. Um, of course, Shijani focusing more on picking, maybe, and the Maokai more on the team fighting. But I do think it's a good response. It's kind of a mirror matchup,
Hmm.
maybe. It's a good way to describe it.
We do also have Ashe coming down, so at the very least, DL are very much setting themselves up in a slightly CC heavy way. Hog are going to have to watch out for the Ashe hours that are going to come across the map, as well as if they continue to draft melee support, melee top laners, that's going to be a lot of CC that the Sejuani is able to dish out, and a very quick objective take that they're going to have as well. As
We,
another
we,
flex pick in the Galio.
we'd also see like to contrary what I said before with the Morgana, not banning Morgana, they do pick Sojani and Ashe here, which Morgana is pretty scary. I feel like into these champs with the Black Shield going against the Sojani and Ashe ult. So I do feel like Morgana is a really good pick here. If now that they didn't ban it, but we'll see.
Hmm. They pick the Tristana here as well. There's a very good chance that Hog haven't picked support here, since Maokai Galio either go support, but it's I believe most likely just gonna go mid jungle respectively. Might be proven wrong on this later, but so far compared to the previous two drafts, the set of having engage in the Maokai Galio and having a bunch of insane damage in the Tristana, just in these three champions alone, I'm already starting to like the look of this Hog draft, as I believe that's Smolder mid. Do you have any idea if that's Smolder mid or top?
That could very well be Smolder mid, I think. I think they do pick that into Galio. I think that makes a lot of sense because Smolder can outrange him and potentially get just sit and stack off of him. Galio doesn't have a lot of kill potential into Smolder because his damage is not very high unless he goes AP. And Smolder can just kind of sit away and get his farm. So I do think this is a Smolder mid. Also, just first picking Smolder top is very dangerous
Hmm.
into some champs.
As Pike gets banned away here, probably just one of Hog support comfort picks, and also that they now have two people in the back line, which are right pickings for Pike if he manages to get onto them. Milio, just because enchanters with the Ashe tend to be very annoying, and once again another hook champion taken away from DL, which at this point in the game is quite a lot of, with both the Thresh and the was there really no other hook champions played? Okay, maybe I'm just waffling a bit. Okay,
I mean,
I would have thought
they had like they had Leona. It's kind of a hook.
Leona, that's the one.
Yeah,
Hook in some regard, and another
yeah,
enchanter gets banned away from the Ash. As
yeah.
I do believe,
So we do see the Morgana is still open, which I think is still a really good pick for Hog here. But we'll see.
mm, maybe they just threw it out last game for funsies in case they didn't have anything else to ban, and they just thought of banning the Nifiri now. Jana, very solid here
Mm.
to set up both the Ash and Smolder, and very good disengage for,
Ooh, the Camille. It's a very
well,
interesting pick.
if you want just all in engage, I think you want nothing more than this Camille. Very fond of this pick.
I do think maybe depending on what the last pick is, we'll see some top lane brawling now. Because Camille is like a fighter champ that is going to look for trades and tower diving stuff like that. Ooh, the
Hmm.
Wukong is also, I think, really nice here. Nice follow-up to some Galio taunting, or vice versa with the Wukong ult. And also,
There's
they do have to
also,
be very careful with the pick potential now of Wukong W, invincibility, ulting, stuff like that.
hmm this is the first time I believe Hog's top laner is blind picking into DL. So let's see if it's actually just a curse in the top lane, where if you counter pick, you're actually counter picking yourself. But they do wait a little while
Ooh,
before finally landing on the
yeah.
Mordekaiser pick.
The-
I do like this Mordekaiser pick mostly
yeah.
because the Wukong is very much against the AD that has currently been built up in DL, and also that Hog themselves are missing quite a decent chunk of AP, where this Mordekaiser is just going to be a frontline menace where he's just going to constantly heal up, and whatever AP damage they do to him, it doesn't matter. He's just going to constantly build armor, well, as much armor as you can on a Mordekaiser, and just, well, let's see.
Mordecai is also a really good pick into Camille just because of the fact that her like most of her damage comes from her true damage Q, which is really telegraphed. So he can easily like out shield it. So whenever her true damage Q comes up, he can press the shield and then he kind of just absorbs it. Or if she waits for the shield to go down, her Q goes away. So Mordekaiser is a really strong pick into Camille. Also because of the ult. So Camille is going to look for some flank or stuff like that. She is kind of awkward to team fight with sometimes because she only has like the single target damage. But she's going to look to go in on some kind of flank, maybe go in on the Ashe, Smolder, Jenna, stuff like that. But she is going to be cut short probably by the Mordekaiser's ult, which can be
Mhm.
really annoying. Also into the Wukong. The Wukong can also get really screwed over by the Mordekaiser ult when he wants to go in for a 5-man knock-up and stuff like that.
And
Mordekaiser is great.
it is also worth noting that four of Hog's champions are in melee range, which is something that the Sejuani and Mordekaiser are going to be very happy going up against, and
Mhm.
it's something that they have to first get past before going onto the backline of DL. I do think it is a little bit awkward in that way because Sejuani doesn't have that many champions to stack her passive, and also it's not, I don't think the comp is as DL favorite as I've proclaimed in the last two games, because at the end of the day, Hog very much have the tools to get onto the back line, and if Smolder or Ash get picked off, then it's just the end of the road for DL, or not the end of the road for DL, since they still have two more games to go if Hog win this. But I'm very much liking this draft more from Hog, and it's on DL to try to scale into the late game with the power of the Smolder and with the power of this Mordekaiser.
I do feel like that Smolder is, like you said, a really, like you said, into a heavy melee comp. Smolder is really good because he can just sit back and use the execute, and they have to walk out to him in order to stop him from doing that. Uh, it is really tough to play front to back against Smolder because he does just do so much damage, and the execute is really detrimenting. So uh, I do think that, like you said, the Hawk it does have a slight advantage in that way that they can try to they'll have to get on the damage dealers in a way. They have the Wukong and Camille.
hmm And it didn't occur to me until right now, but I made the assumption that Galio's going mid and Maokai going jungle. But with this, I do believe it's just probably going to be Maokai support with Galio in the jungle,
Yeah.
seeing as the Wukong pick is most likely going to the jungle. Unless we're gonna hear some crazy story of Wukong top Camille jungle that I've never heard of, but no, no, no,
Mhm. Yeah.
I
I
doubt it.
think I think it
Hold
is
on.
Maokai.
I know the stream can't see this, but if you look at the way that the team is currently drafting, I might have actually been wrong. Is this just Maokai top Camille support? I do know that there was a couple of splits where Camille was very popular in support, but I don't know how viable she is right now. How is this an insane final flex pick from the side
Uh,
of Hog?
Camille support is not definitely not as good as it once was because of the blood song nerfs, just generally support item nerfs. She is like
Mm-hmm.
very much weaker. That's the thing about the old Camille support. She was like almost as strong as like a random Camille top, right? Because the blood song almost could match Trinity Forces thing. But now she's more of kind of like a cheese thing where her most of her capabilities comes from her E and the stun she's able to do, and also the ult. So I do think Camille is like much weaker support than she once was, but it could work, especially into Ashe. I think it does work, and also Jenna, because Jenna relies a lot of on running away, and Camille can maybe counter that.
I do
We'll
see
we'll,
it
we'll have to
is
see.
it is their support player who is on the Camille, unless it's one final swap before the timer runs out. But well, I'm 99% certain it's Camille support. I might be eating my
I
words
mean,
in just a couple seconds.
I do like the Camille support more than Maokai support into the Janna Ashe, to be honest, because it is going to be really tough to get in Maokai W range with those champs. So
Mm-hmm.
it might make sense, but I haven't seen a lot of Camille support, so I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
Maybe another fresh pick for. Okay, I need to do another check for Hog to see if this is a pick that they've played before. And once again, I do not believe it. It is another fresh pick from the side of Hog, but this time in the way of, to the way of the support. Let's see if this goes more to their favor than it did the last time. As yeah, I believe it's a lot more shaky to see the way that this comp go these comps will shake out because
mm,
Hog doesn't really have go in as much aside from maybe the Camille. And the
and the
same thing
Wukong
can be
maybe.
said for DL, where they have a little bit of scaling, but they have a little bit of team fight. The only thing that I think they really sorely lack in is that if one of them get picked off, specifically one of the squisher champions on their team, it is not looking very pretty with Hog having absolutely the tools to do so.
Yeah, that is true. They are lagging in, especially if Ashe or Smolder dies, like you said. They are lagging maybe in like the DPS department. Because the Mordekaiser is more of like a drain tank in sort of way, plays more like that, and it's just trying to front line for them. So if Azure Smolder does get caught, it will be very tough. Especially by like a Maokai ult or something if they get hit by the root. And they do also have the probability of the Tristana is gonna have is gonna be able to burst them down if they get caught in a way. Same with Wukong Camille. Hawks
Mm-hmm.
comp is more they do have the damage more distributed between the champs. I feel like um it's more like a CC comp where we see the Wukong ult and the Galio ult W, the Maokai just CCing, Camille CCing, and then we see the Tristana DPSing. So it's more like it's a more spread out
Which is a
thing
pretty
where
good call.
yeah they all
Because
have like some of the same roles.
hmm yeah, Smolder and Ash are very threatening on the side of DL, but Tristana herself, even though her four other champs, the more levels that she gets, it is in her passive. She slowly gets more range as the game goes on, so she is able to play very comfortably behind this back line, and the more kills go on to her at the start of this match as possible, the more this game, I believe, goes in Hog's favor, especially because with any other champion, you can be a lot more flexible whether they're going to be the damage dealers or just the front line, especially since Mordekaiser can very easily shut down Tristan. My point
Yeah,
was going to be that this Tristana is very powerful with kills, but the front line can stop the Mordekaiser, but he is also very comfortable playing into the melees, I would imagine. As we are going
yeah.
into game, and
We do see
there is
the
this.
one interesting thing is the grasp on Smolder, which is
Mhm.
it kind of shows that he's just trying to stay in lane and stack his grasp, stack his Q, and come out of lane like a demon. So I do think that that'll be interesting. Like you do see that sometimes where Smolder just sits, especially in this game where it's either gonna be a Galio or Maokai, maybe if they lane swap, I don't know. He's gonna be able to sit there, stack his grasp, like chill, and then when he comes out of lane, he's just a demon. I've seen Smolder hitting their 225 stacks like before 20 minutes because they played against these melee champs. So
Mhm.
it'll be interesting.
And I do see Halo Blades on the Camille, so without a doubt, I'm 99% certain. Yep, she has a support item. That is a support Camille in the third game for Hog in the game to decide it all of whether they make it to the grand final or not. And finally, in level 1, we do have a little bit of action where all of them are clumped together, taking a small excursion top lane to see if maybe they can catch out this Mordekaiser, as he is only going to be going as far up to Tribush.
Ooh. We do
They
see
don't
maybe
find him in any of the bushes, so they
they might fight
will
him if they
either
hug
do
the wall here.
this.
They might have a chance. Yes, they hug the wall. He's gonna be there. They have the Camille. He's gonna be a little bit of in a pickle here. I don't know
And
if they
it
have
does
the
land,
follow-up.
but he just barely gets away.
Yeah.
Very fast flash. I believe if he
It,
was interrupted before he got flashed, it might look a little bit more worse for him. But the rest of the map for DL's side, gonna react to that. Janna going for
uh,
wards onto their Raptors, and Ashe just planting herself in this bot bush. No,
I do
Janna not
believe
going for any wards.
that they got a free flash there. I don't think Camille flashed to get him. I think he just eat, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it is still a successful invade, and the Mordekaiser without flash is gonna be a target for like the Maokai Wukong, who can just kind of bully him if they decide to gank top lane early on. Now that Mordekaiser doesn't have flash, they can kind of Maokai can kind of queue him into the wave while Wukong hits him. They might be able to get him early game. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. As is classic for this season, both junglers are going to be pathing bot lane again. The removal of the first set of grubs really being felt, especially here, where both junglers are just wanting to have as much dragon prio for the second clear as possible, especially on DL's side, who just want to play the more passive early game, and with Wukong to use as much prio as they have in their respective lanes. I do think it is a little bit difficult though, because yeah, as just demonstrated, the Ashe is getting quite a bit of a poke onto this Camille, so it is also going to be on this Wukong to try and turn the favor, or the prio even, of these lanes a lot more to his teams.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see that the clears are very similar, but the Wukong I think should have a faster clear, and we might see a fight at the Scuttle, which I do think will be.
Quite
I'm
exciting.
sorry, who's on blue side?
Blue side is Hog.
Yeah, so
Hog, yeah.
I do think that it'll be very Hog favored if they decide to fight in bot river with the Camille support, which is really good early game, the Tristana and the Galio. I think Smolder, most likely what he wants to see
Maokai
is
getting a
just
large chunk on Maokai. Mordekaiser
Smolder
getting
just
a large chunk on Maokai. Sorry.
what we want is just this. What the Smolder wants is just everyone to chill out so he can sit there and stack his grass with passive. So I do think they'll try to avoid bot fights, bot river fights, but we'll see. They might try to sneak in something.
As I do believe Camille used both pots to get herself as healthy as she is now. And here's the Scuttle fight. Wukong does get caught out, so they will... Galio is looking to try and help the Wukong get the Scuttle, but now it's a question of who wins the 2v2. Sejuani flashes out, but she isn't going to avoid the Galio taunt, and Wukong is there to clean up and get the first blood for this game, as Hug getting the first kill on the board, Camille there to hover, as Wukong isn't going to be taking the bot skull, just going top, as the Camille going in on the Smolder, puts down the Ignite, but now he won't be able to return to lane for a while. Very good idea, but not quite all there in the execution.
That's kind of what I was talking about, where the Galio, even though he got caught, kind of, they are just stronger. They're just much stronger. So like they can just turn and kill the Sejuani because the Smolder just.
What happened? Oh my goodness!
Tried tower dive. That's unfortunate. But yeah, so we do see the lesser power in mid lane with the Sejuani just kind of dying there, while Smolder just sits there and tries to mosquito bite the Wukong, right? He's just kind of running up and killing the Sejuani, just walking away. So that's it. What Hawk is going to be trying to play for. They're going to try to abuse the fact that they have Smolder with mid and not let him scale for free.
Mordekaiser passive coming off cooldown. Gonna be dishing a lot of damage onto the Maokai. I guess he just wanted to walk up to freeze the wave up there, but I don't think it can be understated how bad that kind of is for Hog, because kills onto the Smolder this early into the game, just accelerating his spike. He also does have the call, further just signifying, I want to scale. If I can get all the CS, all the kills in the world before I reach my execution range, then I'm more than happy. And all of a sudden, from all this prio mid and bot, the Sejuani is just going to be looking onto Dragon, and all Wukong and Camille can do is pray that they can look onto something for Mordekaiser, but it's a Mordekaiser. What are you looking for up there?
Yes, we do see the Camille and Wukong kind of being on the wrong side of the map here, Because if they were bot side, it would be a very hog failed fight if they decided to fight bot lane. But they're just in top side and they get a free Drake here, which is kind of unfortunate. Also Ocean Drake, which is a really good early game Drake, especially for Smolder, because he gets free sustain, so he can just stay there and scale even further.
A lot of good folk coming onto the way of the Galio, and Jana just staying here in case anything crazy happens, as Ashe in a 2v1, but I think she's quite comfortable down there, keeping a lot of space between her and the enemy laner. Sejuani saying hello to her good friend the Grom. I don't know if they're good friends, I just made it. Of course I made it up! As Smolder and Galio both trading in the mid lane, both of them are level 6, so I do believe that gives a bit more combat power to the Smolder, as the Galio can only really do it if he gets ganked, or if the Smolder gets ganked.
We do also see the Galio building AP, which is kind of what I was kind of predicted with the fact that if he builds tank, he's just gonna feed more into the fact that Smolder can just walk up and kind of abuse him, get whatever he wants. What he's trying to do is build some AP and maybe like he can fight off the Smolder and have some kill potential at least. So it's not just a tank Galio, that's kind of just a punching bag for Smolder's Qs and other abilities.
Both junglers handshaking the recall here in the bot lane. Wukong is staying a little bit longer. And Maokai getting slightly bullied here by this Mordekaiser. Unfortunately, this counter pick from the side of DL looking a lot more potent than Hog has made it look. Sorry to rip onto Vengeance as much as I have.
Yeah, but it's just the Mordekaiser pick here is really good into a lot of them. Also, both Camille and Maokai.
Potentially finding the Janna, but not knowing where anyone else is. He's just gonna say hello and walk back to lane, especially since he can't stay away from mid for long.
It wouldn't even surprise me if they thought the Camille was top, right? And then they picked Mordekaiser into that. That would make a lot of sense also. So it was just a good overall pick. Even into the Maokai, it also makes sense. And the grubs are coming up here. Must see some, and that's kind of the weakness of this Smolder pick, that the Galio should outweigh the Smolder in power, and they should be able to do something in the grubs here. But we'll see, because the Mordekaiser is kind of storming the Maokai.
Wukong and Sejuani will meet here. Sejuani doesn't see the Wukong. And Galio will help shove the Sejuani out here and clear the control ward. But unfortunately, Mordekaiser very much has prio. So it'll be very comfortable for Sejuani to start grubs here. She is not in any danger here. She can take as many grubs as she wants, and it doesn't matter if Hog walk up here. She's just gonna queue over the wall, and yeah, Mordekaiser being back in, just to be sure.
We also see the Sojin. I'm pretty sure Smolder building Sojin here, which it makes a lot of sense. He's gonna try to counter the fact that Galio is going AP. I mean, there might be more things to that, but Sojin is gonna make it so that Galio can't just one combo in and take half his HP, and he's gonna have to put up a bigger fight. And that's the thing about Smolder, because he has his passive, so his damage doesn't all come from AD scalings, so he can kind of allow himself to build these kind of bruiser tank items, which allows him to not get completely one shot by a Wukong ulting on him or stuff like that. So he's gonna be like a really good pick.
And compared to the previous two games anyway, both teams playing a lot more peacefully, especially with a lot less engaged focused supports in the Janna and the Camille. The Camille now definitely has hit a very huge power spike in the fact that she has her ultimate. Wukong is here to potentially look for a lane gang. Janna walking up. They don't want to pull the trigger just yet.
We do also see that the Camille is gonna have a card. Oh, in the ulting. Okay. They hit the Galio ult.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. As Ashe just gonna be ulted away, Tristana spending way too much time under the turret. Wukong chasing the Sejuani, and very close, but no cigar for the side of Hog, as DL will slowly limp away, and Janna will be caught out on her back. Camille may be looking to see if there are any other camps up for Wukong to take here, but Maokai trying to do something to Mordekaiser under the turret. The same thing to Camille on against the Janna, but nothing will happen, and both supports back.
You also see that the Camille pick is kind of reliant on the roaming, She just gets her back. That's lucky. Camille is kind of relying on roaming, and it is really tough for her into this matchup with the Smolder mid, who's just gonna be standing back, building HP. Isn't something you can just go in and one shot, like a control mage on assassin and stuff like that. And the same thing with Mordekaiser. It is really tough to to roam and gank this Mordekaiser, right? Because that's the whole thing about Mordekaiser. He can kind of isolate targets. So it is really tough game for this Camille to roam. So she just kind of stands, but because the best target for Camille is actually Ashe and Jenna.
First steal here. No, not quite. I was praying in a different universe, perhaps Wukong maybe W over the wall or Blast Cone over the wall. Look, go for a smite, W back out.
Yeah, but he doesn't have
That's
smite.
not quite the excitement.
It's unlucky.
As they're just going to be fighting a little bit in the river here. I do think this is a bit worse for the Sejuani. The Gallia can absolutely roam here, as Wukong knows it as well. Ults the Sejuani here. Double ult going fully onto the Sejuani, and that's just way too far for her to go. Ashe ult coming in, stunning the Camille, but not going to be getting much more, as it's a very enjoyable free kill for Hog.
Yeah, and then we see Galio going back to his day job, which is the late lane, getting bitten by the Smolder Q, and
even though the Smolder is a single kill up, it's so disgusting to see. They're completely even in CS, and the Smolder is teetering on a 100G bounty, which is completely insane to me.
Yeah. It's even though the team is even ahead in gold. I mean, just by a little bit, but still.
The Yuntal is online for both ADCs, so you'll have a very comfortable time stacking both of it here. And compared to some other games, both of them, I believe, got their first item around the same time. Ashe maybe a little bit sooner than the Tristana, but the Tristana does have a single kill's worth of gold on her, and it is unfortunate to say, even though Hog do have more kills, it is looking very slightly DL favored, with Mordekaiser slowly building his items in the top lane, waiting for him to come free of his shackles, and the stacking dragons with the Void Grubs that DL have.
It does also make sense that this is a game point game where DL takes it all if they win this, that it is a really passive game and they're just kind of sitting back. We only have 3 kills in 13 minutes. So we'll probably see more of this, and then maybe like so some of the bigger team fights which gonna decide who's gonna take the game.
As once again, compared to the other games, there's not too much more worth of note. Both all laners even trying to just farm as peacefully as they can.
We see the Smolder getting the plate, finishing his call. He's just hoarding everything like a dragon on a gold pile, and that's the most gold in the whole game. We'll probably see him become very strong soon. And I'm also kind of curious how many stacks he has. It's 141. So with this rate, he'll probably have 200 at around before 20 minutes. So it'll be.
Was it 200 or 225? I'm not 100% sure.
He gets the execute at 225. But I do think he's going to be very close to execute at around 20 minutes.
Covering the Camille engage, as Tristana going to be getting a bit of damage onto the Ashe, as Ashe ult does manage to hit the Camille, and it will kill the Camille. But Sejuani here caught out a little bit far too long, and the return kill onto the Sejuani, with Hog now getting the kill feats of strength, but Smolder getting the tier 1 mid turret for free.
Yeah. So Smolder's gonna be very strong. They also have the corrupts here, which is really nice. So every time Galio roams or leaves, he can just harass the tower, and now they're gonna get first tower.
Mordekaiser getting a lot of damage here onto the Maokai. Is the burn gonna be enough? It will be, and this man just a complete unit with Liandry's build. Maokai does have the Hollow Radiance, but unfortunately when you get that low versus a Mordekaiser, there's not a lot you can do, and very cockily, I think, buying this Dark Seal here, just setting himself up for later in the game to say, yeah, I'm gonna kill you, you can't walk into me, your entire team is melees, and I'm gonna build armor. What's Tristana gonna do? Or at least I assume he is.
We do also see the CS differential in top lane. The Mordekaiser the Maokai is really having a hard time doing much. And I do think even though he's staying in lane the whole game, he lost tower.
As
It's
who's
just
being
natural.
engaged on here? The Smolder completely caught out, but it was on an invade that's orchestrated by the Wukong Camille and the Galio. So very well played by Hog to catch out the shutdown here out in the open. Shutting down the Smolder here, very important.
That's exactly what they want. They want to loosen the tempo on this Molder because he's been stacking the whole game, and they need to like stop him in some way or another.
They are looking for a return kill, but they won't get it just yet. Instead, they're actually, well, they're also setting up space for the dragon as the third dragon for DL coming up right now. Smolder not on the map just yet, so they don't feel comfortable starting it.
Also, I do believe that Smolder is building Bloodthirster right now, which is gonna be Bloodthirster shield, the lifesteal, and the Sojin.
I'm guessing he's
just-
building BF sword for just the item efficiency over the Vamp scepter.
Yeah. So I think he just wants more AD. Also, lifesteal isn't. Yeah. He already has the Ocean Drake and stuff like that. We see the Drake coming in. The third Drake actually.
Hog can't exactly that. Wukong looking to go in, but isn't able to get the smite off as Mordekaiser just going to be taking out this Wukong. Within the passive, unfortunately the flash not going to get it done, but it does raise the question why Wukong didn't flash earlier. Very unfortunate steal attempt from the side of Hog, but that's exactly what they have to go for if they want to try and win a game like this, because even though the game up until this point has been very even, that's not what you want as Hog here.
Yeah, I do think that they will have a hard time in the late game with this boulder. Also, the Camille walking down, they might look for a pick on Smolder here. Would be very valid.
Yeah, you're going in. Camille getting the lockdown onto the Smolder, getting taunted, and it's just perfect CC to once again shut down the Smolder, who has, for the first time, not really had that great of a game, as he is kind of just built here to stack, and if he stays too far up in the lane versus this engage heavy comp, he's finally being punished for overstaying in places that he absolutely just shouldn't be. Sejuani going in on the Wukong. That is his clone, unfortunately. They will get blue buff as a compensation.
Yeah, they also got the Herald from the Smolder. Because Camille and Galio killed the Smolder, they traded the Herald. It's not too bad, not a get bot tower. So they're kind of trading on both sides of the map, which is a good thing.
Maokai very wisely dodging Mord E, as now it's just whoever is stronger, the Tristana on the side of Hog or the Mordekaiser on the side of DL, bot versus top. They're getting quite a lot for this, and I don't think Hog are very much going punished here, as the Camille Galio are just very much enjoying their time in the bot lane, as Tristana going to try and shut down this Mordekaiser. It's a 2v1, but that is kind of the exact kind of situation Mordekaiser loves, and he just completely gets taken out here. Potentially looking onto the Tristana, but knowing, hey, I have the Maokai, that's enough, I'm going home for the day.
This is gonna be really tough for Hog. 4 melee champs into this fed Mordekaiser. It's gonna be really hard to take these team fights. Because the Mordekaiser just gonna be able to drain tank. But we can definitely see, like you said before, that they get a pick on Smolder like they haven't, like they've gotten a couple of times already, and they can definitely have a chance of turning it.
I guess Wukong was staying in the bush for a few seconds to see if anyone from the side of DL would walk up, but no one does. Just collects a couple of minions for himself. There's a bit of action coming along here on the bottom side as Atakan is slowly starting to spawn. And both teams are just looking onto it, with Hog having a bit of vision there. They do get spotted out.
They do have TP advantage on the Maokai actually, so this might be the chance to get a outnumbered fight with a 5v4, but it's gonna be hard. Giving the tier 2 to Mordekaiser will be tough, but I think Mordekaiser is gonna move down now, maybe, and gonna be there for the Atakan.
As they have given a lot of space here to Hog, and it is potentially their Atakan to take. It is still very volatile though, since Galio is... he's still pushing out bot. I guess both teams are
You see the Wukong recalling now, resetting. So they're probably gonna fall it back. They're gonna be. The Gator has to be careful here, not getting caught by the Sujani or anything. But the Smolder is recalling too, and Jenna, so they're gonna be resetting before the Artican.
They are getting quite good prio here in the bot lane and mid lane, as it would appear someone has frozen time for just a brief second. And we are back online, as there's still a bit of a scuffle in the mid lane. It's going to be quite even. Ashe only going to be catching out this Tristana, I believe, not just barely missing the Wukong. As now it's the Mexican standoff to see who gets Artican first.
We'd also see the Drake coming up, so there might be a even bigger prize pool for the winning team fight here.
As Maokai getting very low here, being altered by the Mordekaiser. 1Q, and unfortunately with the wallet that Mordekaiser has slowly built up with all the gold that he has wrestled away from the Maokai. Liandry's and a Rift Maker versus Hollow Radiance is not going to get it done. As another team fight going on, Wukong trying to engage onto DL. And a two-man Galio taunt. Smolder coming back, trying to fight back a little bit of space. As also the Mord TP'd in, and DL just slowly picking off the members of Hog, as Sejuani looking for the kill onto this Tristana, smiting for good measure, but just going to get ulted away. As the Camille trying to get a kill back onto the Sejuani. The Tristana does get it done, and that was just a little bit too far of a chase without the rest of DL being able to help them. Mordekaiser just solo taking the dragon. As another TP is coming in, the Wukong does get taken out, as Mordekaiser just barely not going to get hit with the edge of that Maokai ult, and I think all the while they don't know Dragon's going on. As that's Cloud Soul for DL.
The Cloud Soul is going to be insane for DL. That was a really interesting fight. We saw the Mordekaiser TP in, and then we saw the glimpse of hope where Tristana was just keeming him down with his auto attacks, and Mordekaiser was actually like a few hundred health away from dying, and I thought it was gonna be Hawk turning the fight there, but then she got hit by the Sejuani ult, I think, or Ashe ult, got CC'd by something, and then the fight turned, but it was really close.
I do find it interesting that Smolder's second item is a crit item. Maybe that makes this team a little bit more susceptible to the Randuins, but unfortunately the only tank builders here are going to be the Wukong and Maokai, and currently this Maokai's biggest problem is the huge Mordekaiser roaming around in the top lane. And now with DL having Cloud Soul, it's just a matter of time before either the top tier 2 turret falls or the Artican falls. Galio slightly cut out here.
Yeah,
So
we'll
one
probably
looking
see
for something. Janna trying, finding the Wukong. Wukong gets ulted in, returned by the Ashe. Ashe dealing major damage onto the Wukong. Wukong trying to deal a bit of damage to the Ashe back, but it just won't matter. Redemption to heal both of them back up. Maokai getting killed by Mordekaiser once again. Sejuani finding the CC onto the Galio, with Ashe and Janna coming back to try to help out the Sejuani. Ashe just completely getting blown up as Galio and Tristana are trying to get away from the Sejuani, but it doesn't matter. With Smolder now in the fight, both of them go down, as now that's a completely free Artican with 4 members of DL still alive. That's tier 2 turret going down, and like I said, it's a matter of time before tier 2 turret and Artican are theirs for the taking with the wallet and Cloud Soul that they have in their pocket.
We just also see that the Smolder hitting his mark fairly early here, at around the 20-minute mark, which is just really strong, and it's just a game changer, especially with his high AD build and his health. You can see him flying in with E flashing in melee range because he just has so much health. He's so bulky, he can just go in and kind of do whatever he wants. He's really strong.
And also, I think a bit of a consequence for the... Oh my goodness, that is an 11k... That is 12k on the Mordekaiser. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of gold on both of these two respective champs, and Camille looking for the Sejuani. Wukong trying to come after it as well, but Smolder is just there to cover, and he now has execute stacks. That's just one more kill into the bank of Smolder.
We can see him sitting at 250 here, so now he's just gonna keep stacking, keep getting more damage, and it's gonna be more tough the later they go on, especially because their win con right now is the Tristana, which is a champ you who does get kind of outshined by some of the champs in the later game. Because the Mordekaiser will start building some armor maybe to get up to Sejani. So they'll probably get some items to counter the Chichan not being able to completely one-shot them.
I do find it a bit funny how Smolder and Ash are both building Executioner's Calling, as Hog are trying to look to get into the Baron Pit, but not quite going to get it with DL's very overwhelming power that they have in their pocket now. 7k gold difference. Ash ult managing to hit the Tristana. Smolder ult going just a little bit wide as the Smolder damage just completely melts all of Hog and no Baron needed. They're just going to be marching down mid lane with nothing but a Galio, Maokai, and Camille to defend. Galio being caught out here, Mordekaiser ult going in, and Galio goes down. Yes, he does. And yeah, this Mordekaiser can take church shots for days.
You just see these smolder Qs that hit like mosquito bites earlier, just hitting like trucks now. They're just completely destroying them.
Camille. At this point, they're just having fun with it. At this, Hog's Nexus slowly ticking down as DL take game 3 and the series, going to the grand final of the SLE. Wow, what a game.
Oh. But Hog will, of course, have a chance still to get in the final and do a rematch with Def Lotus. That was really interesting. A completely really interesting series because the teams honestly were really close in a lot of the games. Like in basically all of the games, they were close throughout most of the game. Maybe this last one was a little more skewed towards DL, but a lot of the games they were kind of fighting back and forth, getting gold gold ahead both teams, but then kind of even out, and then DL took the lead. So I was really expecting for Hog to at least win some of the games, but it was just DL just played really well and. Also had the Smolder pick this game was a really nice touch. The Smolder kind of took over the game, especially also with the Mordekaiser top lane, destroying the lane.
And it was very unfortunate because even though I do think Hog finally landed on a comp that they can do a lot more with, it was versus a comp that says, okay, my goal is to just not interact with you whatsoever and just continue stacking in the Smolder, like you said, and the Mordekaiser. And yeah, unfortunately they weren't able to draft something similar in game 1 or game 2, which I would have loved. I do know that they were a lot more on their comfort more than anything else, but other than that, anything else come to your mind about these games?
I do feel like the first two games played a lot alike, and then the last one was kind of an outlier. The first two games was a lot of CC and pick potential, and then the team fights, of course. While this last game, it was just kind of um, these kind of fights where it was pretty favored towards one of them, and where they were kind of outnumbered. And then when we finally got to the team fights, which was these 5v5s, the Deathlows were just like way too much gold ahead, and it was just a complete stomp. But yeah, it was really interesting.
I do believe we are going to be getting a post-match interview from Yalern and Seahound from DL, which are the jungler and sorry, forgive me. Who was Seahound in this game? Hold on, maybe Ghosty can tell me. Icehound, sorry. Seahound. My bad. Okay. It was Icehound. So it was both the jungler and the mid laner for DL, who I believe we're going to be in an interview with. So other than that, Okay. I've never done an interview before. This is exciting.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello.
Okay. I guess we're just gonna ping pong a couple of questions back and forth. So, question to both of you: how do you feel after those two games, the grand finals of the SLE?
I'm just glad I didn't have to play against more teams until finals. It's like nice to have the security of knowing like, oh, okay, we're like actually gonna play. That's good.
Yeah, it's nice to get 2 weeks off now. at least for me.
Yeah.
Hmm. I see a question here from chat. I crazy fool. They ask, who do you think the MVP? I guess between your own team, who it is.
That's a
Probably
good
me.
question.
Probably me.
Of
Yeah.
course, you think it's you. Uh, I mean, Jeff played solid.
Hmm.
He kind of just stayed in his lane and just won like he usually does.
Yeah. It's sad
I think-
like they had a sub, because I think it would have been fun to play their like full roster. But
Yeah,
Hmm.
like Jeff still did his job and made a big difference in all the games pretty much.
Hmm.
I think it's Jeff.
Yeah, I would
Were
agree.
there any moments that you had, I think specifically in draft, where you had some really nice picks or strategies that you want to just quickly point out for everyone?
So we kind of went into it like new Syndra was like higher prior for them. Like they've never lost on Syndra. This is like most played mid laner. So I was like, I think I can kind of just first pick this, and we can like play out the rest of the draft from there. So that was like our main thing going into it. And then after that, I felt like they kind of just were drafting really high AP comps. So we were kind of not too worried about like what was going to go on in game. We kind of knew there was going to be a point where we can start building magic resist items and win. And then game 3, the Gallier on D2 was not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hmm.
what did you think, Yalen?
Yeah, I mean, I think the drafts were a bit confusing. I think the Syndra one was good, but yeah, they had a lot of AP in the first 2 games, which kind of made it a bit easier for us because we can just build magic resist. And then the last game with the Galio on 2 and the Camille support, this was unexpected to say the least.
Hmm. That's enough questions from me. Ulvi, would you happen to have any questions to ask these young gentlemen?
I was thinking about the bans because you're gonna repeat the same bans over and over again. So could you like explain why you banned these champs?
So we banned Jarvan via Ari because he wants to play Syndra. And if I play Syndra versus Ari Jarvan or Ari Vi or Ari plus like whatever, it's a bit hard. Then game 2, we swapped out the Vi because we wanted to first pick it, and then banned Morgana Ori because we're planning on picking Talia or something similar to that. And
Where's
then
the Morgana going towards? Was it their jungler or their support that plays a bunch of Morgana?
jungle, I think, plays.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
mostly just to keep it away from like a counter pick towards the Vi because it makes the engages so awkward for her.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Well, what about the last game where it didn't ban Morgana, but then pick stuff like Sojani and Ash? What
I
was
Um,
don't think
the?
well, we kind of saw they picked Maokai first, so we
Mhm.
assumed it's like going jungle. But it's also like non-committal engage isn't as punished by the black shield as like a Vi going in. Like if she gets black shielded, then she just gets melted. Whereas if Sejuani throws out and you trade black shields, it's
Yeah.
kind of just a bad trade, but it's not like the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. In that case, one final question: how are you guys feeling for the next match? Anything you guys are gonna do to prepare, or just waiting to see how the lower bracket thins out?
I think
Um,
I mean, looking forward to who we're facing. Could be funny with a rematch against Vitagen, but yeah, I mean, we just take it one game at a time and look at who we're facing.
All right,
this is
very
like
excited.
this announcement to Piggies. Please, please beat Vitagen. I don't want to play against Sion mid in the finals. It's very boring. Please beat Vitagen. I don't want to play against them. That's like my message to the world.
Do you have any messages to any opponents that you would be facing soon, Hjalern?
Uh, yeah, I hope RX wins. That's basically it.
RX are like playing now, and there's Piggies next week, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, actually, wait. Have they even finished their game? Maybe it's a bit BM to say like Virgin are like auto winning. Maybe RX will go reverse sweep and then problem solved anyway.
Yeah, you never know.
Mhm. All right. In that case, I'm at the very least out of questions. Olvi?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. In that case, thank you for doing this interview, and thank you to everyone watching. Very excited for Deadly Lotus in the finals, and good luck to the Piggies in the lower bracket. Thank you, everyone. This has
Good luck.
been
Thank
Panda.
you.
I've been joined by Olvi, Isound, and Hjalern. That's the end of the stream. Okay. Bye bye.
We actually need to play the game.
So this is going to be spectator blade rebuilding itself in standard after a buzz. So at this point in time, we are getting a rare glimpse of slow motion. The siege continues it into Ziggs. This structure not long for the world. Tempered fade, however, is able to the wall, waiting for the Gnar ultimate and goes for it. Yes, I do have to see Ziggs slamming into the wall, and they do cut him out. He will pay for it with his life. This is Gnar for Ziggs trade, and A's continues to run unchecked through the base. Level 15, not quite rank 3 ultimate. How far is low? Top T3 cracked. They get one, but how much more do they have left to defend?
They're gonna lose everything apart from the Nexus turrets. It feels like the mid inhibitor down, top inhibitor down, the bottom one is short as well. And I feel like they do not have the tools to defend against this.
It does not seem so. We have that Keeper's Verdict spinning off your Poppy. They continue to flail, but look at the beating these towers are taking thanks to these creeps. Down to quarter HP